And Sean's off this week. Good morning to you. It's Wednesday, July 22nd. Sergeant Michael Swinson, 30 years old, North Carolina. Mishap of controlled detonation in Erbil Air Base in Iraq. Had a wife, 6-year-old son, 4-year-old daughter. Sergeant Angel Rampersad, 28 years old, New York. 4 confirmed dead over this past weekend. President Trump will be at Dover Air Force Base, 10 a.m. our time this morning for the dignified transfer of their remains. The 11th night with deeper strikes into Iran. The strait is at a standstill now, we are told, essentially closed. Only 3 vessels getting through yesterday. Marco Rubio said Iran is not serious about talks with the United States. Iran hit both Kuwait and Jordan earlier this morning, and they are threatening now with the Houthis to slow down or stop another strait that's very important to Saudi Arabia. The president was asked about that yesterday.
Level of concern of a blockade of the Red Sea by the Houthi rebels, opening up another front in the war.
What happens? So far, it hasn't happened. Might happen, but we take care of things. If something like that happens, we take care of it. You know, we've done that with the Houthis before, and we haven't heard from them in a while since we did what we did originally. That was about 45 days of very powerful action we took against the Houthis.
If you're wondering who are the Houthis is a group of folks who are terrorists that are backed by Iran, much like Hamas, much like Hezbollah. Iran, when we say they're the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, this is exactly what we're talking about. They have these proxy groups that are positioned all throughout the Middle East, including the Houthis, that are out of Yemen, that are right there ready to block everything that comes out of Saudi Arabia, their oil that would flow into the Red Sea. The same is true when you're talking about Hamas continuing to kill people in Gaza as we speak today and steal what we are sending to the people. We are sending to the Palestinians. Hamas is stealing that for themselves. And then, of course, up in Lebanon, you have Hezbollah, who continues to want to kill Israelis every single day. But, Iran, according to the Democrats, Iran is the perfect country. That's who we need to be more like. Mary Bruce over at Fake News, ABC.
Mr. President, there are no signs that Iran is ready to stop fighting. So what is the plan? Is the plan to just keep bombing until they give up?
There are no signs. What, do you know something that I don't know?
Well, they continue to attack our allies and
You
kill
don't
Americans.
know what the dialogue is behind the scenes, that they want to meet desperately to try and end it.
So, Mary Bruce over at ABC. First of all, ABC is fake news, 100%. And the president talks about that right here.
Because they're getting decimated. You don't get that when you listen to your fake station, but you don't know anything.
No, ABC doesn't know anything, and certainly Mary Bruce doesn't know anything. She has been caught on any number of occasions spreading lies, one after the other, on Fake News ABC. And so the president was in the White House, and he continued to talk about the situation with Iran. And here he is talking about the nuclear weapons.
And we will absolutely attack. The new site that they're talking about. I mean, how about these people? They're in this because of nuclear weapons, and they're trying to possibly reconstitute a site. We'll hit that site. Any site where they're even thinking about nuclear, we'll be hitting it very, very powerfully. Now, nobody knows, except the Iranians, the damage that we've done to them. We have done damage that will take them 20, 25 years to recover from. So if we left tomorrow, we had a big success.
If we left tomorrow, it would be considered a huge success, okay? But here we are with Iranian drones being shot down over the U.S. consulate in Iraq. President Trump says we could and probably will strike Pickaxe Mountain very, very soon. There's a lot of indication. I've been talking to you about Pickaxe Nation now, or Pickaxe Mountain now, for months on end, that's where they moved a lot of their armaments and a lot of their nuclear stuff. They moved it to Pickaxe Mountain. It's underneath the mountain, way underneath there, in a facility they built, thought to be impervious and certainly not accessible by us. Here's more from the president.
If we left today, it would take them decades to rebuild, and I don't believe they could ever rebuild. And Honestly, they haven't seen anything yet.
They haven't seen anything yet, says the president, that they face greater destruction if the war continues. This has no impact on me. I'm going to do the right thing because yesterday the midterms came up in that discussion and the fake news media trying to talk him into quitting. You better stop because you're going to lose the midterms if you keep going. He said, I don't care. I'm going to do the right thing. Meanwhile, over in front of some really out-of-control senators on Capitol Hill, the Secretary of Destruction, that's what I call him, Pete Hegseth, had to answer questions about a whole wide range of stuff because the Democrats, they want America to fail so badly that they will do anything possible to assure that we go down in a ball of flames. Here's Pete Hegseth talking about Iran.
Militarily, it has ever been in the past decade. Certainly, maybe in 47 years, as they've gathered effectively a terror army. And that terror army was built to try to create conventional capabilities to defend against a pursuit of nuclear weapons, which meant thousands of ballistic missiles, many of which we have destroyed, others of which they have put inside facilities and hidden in underground facilities. And that's what terror regimes would do. So I acknowledge they still have capabilities, no doubt. But the amount of damage that we've done to them over the course of these series of operations has put them in the worst place they've ever been.
Not only in the worst place they've ever been militarily, but economically as well, and we're going to talk about that. He was there so he could talk about what our needs for the future. During the 4 years of the Biden administration, I'm just going to break this down for you real quick, and then throughout the morning, hang with me for as long as you can today. I know you're trying to get ready for work, and you're trying to do this and that and the other, and you can't stay for the entire 4 hours, but stay with me as long as you can today, because I'm going to break a lot of this down, what happened on Capitol Hill yesterday and with the president, because it's significant to Military City, USA, and to the United States. But what happened under the Biden administration, they emptied our armaments and sent them to Ukraine. And so now this administration has to bat cleanup and come in and clean up the mess of the Biden administration and say, hey, we're out of stuff. We need stuff if we're going to protect our country. What did Lloyd Austin do for 4 years?
This is rebuilding our military from what was not funded in the past under the Biden administration. So this is from 2026, one big beautiful bill, which helped move the president's priorities like Golden Dome for America, move away from all the woke priorities of what the Biden administration was pursuing, give us a chance to start cutting these deals on munitions, all the things that the president wanted us to focus on: shipbuilding, hypersonics. I mean, the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. They just decided to pretend like that technology didn't exist, and we should.
And they did that on purpose. They wanted us to be vulnerable. Remember, it was Barack Obama's third term, and Barack, since he came on the scene, has been dedicated to the downfall of the United States of America. Read Bill Ayers. Read all these guys that he studied under to find out how to bring the United States down as a Marxist communist, and that's exactly what he was trying to do through Joe Biden.
Didn't invest in it. There are things. I don't know what Lloyd Austin did for 4 years. I really don't.
Well, sure
the amount of neglect, the amount of stale thinking and bureaucracy, it was staggering when we took over. So one big beautiful bill gave us a chance to get caught back up.
Let me interrupt your speech for a minute, Mr. Secretary.
So that's Senator Dick Durbin, who is just absolutely one of the worst of all time. And it's true. Lloyd Austin did absolutely nothing concerning protecting the United States of America. You remember, over and over again, Lloyd Austin told us his number one priority was white supremacy in the military and making it so that guys who want to pretend to be girls can do so in the military. We didn't care about lethality. We didn't care about defending our country. We didn't care about anything else. What he cared about was white supremacy in our military, and number two, we need to make sure that guys can dress as girls in the military if that's what they so choose to do. This administration is trying to keep us safe, trying to rebuild what was destroyed in 4 short years. And I got to tell you guys, before I break, that right there is just proof once again. If you give them back power, they will finish the job. And now they've got communists among themselves ready that aren't even from this country, aren't even from here. Communists among themselves that will finish the job of the destruction of the United States if they win the midterms. All right, so 210-599-5555, 210-599-5555, that's the number. I'm going to take a quick break. Let me tell you about Here in Texas, H-E-A-R, HereInTX.com, HereInTX.com. That's where you can go book your appointment. Mention Trey Ware when you do. And one of their fine audiologists will sit down with you and put you through their test. It's real short. It doesn't take long at all for them to go through these tests with you. Really, I think it took me 20 minutes, I think, maybe even less than that. Nancy was sitting in the room with me, put the headphones on, punch the button when you hear the sound, all that kind of stuff. And it worked out great. Because all of my life, I've had hearing loss. I was born that way. It was a hearing impairment that I was born with, and it got worse over time. Obviously, being in this business, wearing headphones and shooting guns and driving race cars and riding motorcycles, all the stuff that I did throughout my life set me up for very poor hearing. And it got to the point where, for 43 years of marriage, I couldn't even hear what Nancy was saying. It's through a glass. In fact, I got really good over my lifespan of reading lips, and I learned to read her lips and the lips of my grandgirls. But not anymore. With hearing aids from Here in Texas, they can correct your hearing. They can do a lot to help you improve the quality of your life. So if you have found yourself being isolated because you just can't hear anymore and you're kind of in your own little world, don't do that. Go see our friends at Here in Texas. Let them work on you. Let them figure out what's going on with your hearing and correct it by the greatest hearing aids you're going to find anywhere. HEAR, HereInTX.com. We got a heat alert for San Antonio and South Texas. Sunny and 101 today. 79 now, KTSA.
One.
Brian Adams. It do cut like a knife, baby. I can't believe that's 40 years ago. 40 years ago. You talk about a golden oldie moldy, man. All right, 622, Trey Ware, KTSA 210-599-5555. So we've heard for years from Jake the Snake Tapper and from Fake News ABC how non-citizens who never registered to vote in America just does not happen. You know, Snuffleupagus, Jonathan Carl, the whole group that's run through Fake News ABC and through CNN. They just don't, there's no way that anybody who is not a citizen of this country could ever they can't get registered in America. And I do videos, okay? We all do videos. And I put these videos up on, our Facebook page and stuff like that, KTSA Facebook page, stuff like that. And anytime I do one, in fact, I did one yesterday morning. I do mine like before the show starts. So it's, between midnight and 6 a.m. when I'm here preparing the show. And the one I did was at like 2:30 in the morning, and then it went up at sometime later in the day. And it was talking about this. It was talking about the Save America Act, that we need to Save America Act to make sure that non-citizens do not register to vote in the country. And of course, all the liberals, and half of them are bots, by the way, but all the liberals commenting on the KTSA Facebook page, it doesn't happen. You're making crap up. What?
I'm just laughing.
Well, it's true. It doesn't happen. You're making stuff up. You're just making it all up. It doesn't happen. I'm sitting there going, yes, it does. And Democrats like it when it happens because, by and large, people who are here, who are non-citizens, when they vote for Democrats because Democrats give them stuff. Look at L.A. last month. They went out there and gave them money to vote for Karen Bass, cash to vote for Karen Bass. Mikey Sherrill, the governor of New Jersey yesterday, had to admit that nearly 7,000 non-citizens that they know of, ended up registering to vote. They have no idea how many of those actually cast a ballot. Well, it was a very small number. You don't know. So the way this works is people were getting driver's licenses, non-citizens, and then there was a thing on the bottom of the thing where you sign up and it goes, okay, are you a citizen or not? And they would hit on that, they would check, yes, I'm a non-citizen. But the software would register them to vote anyway. This is that whole voter motor thing that has registered millions of people who should not be registered to vote. Felons, dead people, people who have left, people who have moved, and of course non-citizens. They would rather have mass numbers of people voting. The Democrats would rather have mass numbers of people voting than the true and correct citizens of this country being able to vote. But then, this is what she said after she announced that, oh, yes, it's true, we had a bunch of non-citizens registered to vote. Then she went on to say,
let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity.
Donald Trump. Everything has to come back to Donald Trump. Last Thursday, he said 280,000 non-citizens are registered right now that they know of. And all the Democrats, including Mikey Sherrill, and it's just not true. It's just doesn't happen. Nobody's registered. It's not a non-citizen.
For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence.
No, all of it has turned out to be true, sweetheart.
I saw the consequences of Trump's lies on January 6th.
That's a lie, too.
Oh, my God.
That had nothing to do with that. The president never, I'm not even going to get into it with her.
I was in the Capitol when he and his followers tried to steal the election and put the lives of hundreds of members of our law enforcement at risk.
What a pissant. I mean, she really is. And so Jake the Snake Tapper for years, and I could play all the sound. It's on my X account. Go to my X account. You'll see it. You don't have to trust my words. You can see it for yourself. I only talk about what I can back up. And here's Jake the Snake last night well, this doesn't look so good for Democrats. When for years, Jake was one of those that was on CNN saying it just doesn't happen. Non-citizens never register to vote.
But Mikey Sherrill, the governor of New Jersey, made this announcement today, a surprising announcement. Nearly 400 non-citizens.
Who's surprised? Surprising announcement. Who's surprised, Jake?
Voted in New Jersey elections as a result of what she calls a serious software error. Governor Sherrill posted this quote, as the Trump administration tries to weaponize elections for political gain, I am ensuring we protect our elections.
I'm so tired of people using a whole lot of words to say nothing. He's just blah, 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 blah. Cut your words down. Edit your words.
On to say the difference is simple. When we find a problem, we don't hide it, deny it, or invent conspiracies. We investigate it, we fix it, and we tell the public. I have to say, though, for Democrats, I'm not saying that the Save America, the SAVE Act is going to pass. Yeah. But this is not good for Democrats' argument that there's no such thing as undocumented immigrants voting.
You said that for years, Jake, on CNN. And to come on CNN last night and say, this doesn't look ridiculous for the Democrats. That's what they do to you, folks. That's the trip. Whether it's CNN or fake news ABC, Save America Act, you do not have to show proof if you're already registered. No person will be turned away. If you don't have proof of citizenship, you just sign an attestation right there and say, yes, I am a citizen. And then you can cast your vote, and then they will put it through the process to make sure that you're good to go. But the only reason that you want this to die is because, number one, you want people to cheat, and number two, you want Donald Trump to be compromised. That's it. Tell you about Texas Rhino Shield. Got big news about Texas Rhino Shield. If you want to see it for yourself and meet my friend Anthony LaBarbera and his son Colton, because Texas Rhino Shield is locally owned and family owned. If you want to see it for yourself, just go to the Texas Home and Garden Show at the Alamo Dome next weekend. That's the 31st through the 2nd. Next weekend, because Texas Rhino Shield will be in booth number 713 displaying Texas Rhino Shield to you. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I talk a lot about Anthony LaBarbera here on the show, and now his son Colton, who is there at Texas Rhino Shield. And next weekend at the Alamo Dome, the Texas Home and Garden Show, they are going to be in booth number 713. And in the meanwhile, you can reach out to them and have them come to your home and give you a free, no-obligation inspection and an estimate as to what it's going to take to put Rhino Shield on your home. It's gorgeous. And because it's 9 times thicker than paint as a ceramic coating, it protects your home like paint could never, ever dream of doing. And they give you a 25-year guarantee to that fact. We did it. We love it at the warehouse, and I know you will, too. Get $2,500 off when you mention Trey Ware at TexasRhinoShield.com.
News Talk 550.
6:35 now, KTSA. Top 40 Talk is what we're doing here, moving it right along with all the momentum in the world as quick as we can go. 210-599-5555. For, I don't know, over a decade, John Hayward from Breitbart.com has been joining me at this time, and then Sean came into the show later on, but John has been with me for a very long time. And Sean's off this week. He's going to be back on Monday. I got some headlines I'm going to get in with John. 43% of Americans view communism as a threat, and that's only 43%. We'll get into that. James Tallarico's got a new ad out. The little effeminate wimp is driving a pickup truck, a Ram pickup truck with a cowboy hat on. And it was a big night for President Trump last night in Arizona. And Mom Donnie, I was right about Mom Donnie from the beginning, and I'll explain that in a minute. But, John, let's first of all, good morning. Let's start with New Jersey, because you and I both have been talking about for years how people who are not citizens of this country register to vote and do vote in our elections, and how the Save America Act would go a long way to helping that. And so, no, it doesn't happen. Fake news ABC, fake news CNN, all the fake news. It doesn't happen. That never goes on. And then Mikey Sherrill comes out yesterday and says, yeah, it's been going on here in New Jersey, and it's Trump's fault.
Well, usually the fallback position from the people that make excuses for this crap is that once you prove it is happening after them saying it's not, then they fall back. They move the goalposts, and they say, oh, well, but you can't prove it changed the outcome of the election.
Yes.
And if you can't prove that it changed, then what are we even worried about? It's not a big deal as long as you can prove with metaphysical accuracy that an election was stolen here. We need to stop putting up with this absolute nonsense. These people defending this vote fraud and stuff need to be swept aside. We need to fix this. The Save America Act is a major, major part of this. Americans need to put it very high on their priority list. When you're looking to make a decision in an election, when you're getting ready to vote for your representatives, you need to ask yourself, is this person defending vote fraud? If they are, there's nothing else you need to know about them. That person is not suitable for your vote. If they want to keep our system in a third world state where shenanigans can be committed and things can be done. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but we know we can make it much, much better than it is now.
Well, and you and I know that enthusiasm wins elections, especially midterm elections, because there is no enthusiasm because the president is not on the ballot. Although I have been saying in this midterms, the president is indeed on the ballot. It's all about President Trump. But when you look at the enthusiasm of the communists in this country right now, and I'm talking about the young, white, rich communists that are running this revolution in the Democrat Party, they're highly enthusiastic. They're going to show up. They're going to turn out to vote for their candidates. There's no question about that. But if you want to kill the enthusiasm of Republicans and MAGA Republicans, then you will do exactly what the rhinos like John Thune and John Cornyn and Tom Tillis and the others are doing, and that is to kill the Save America Act. And they are doing it for that purpose. They hate Donald Trump so much. I'm talking about the rhino Republicans. They hate him so much. They want him to lose to a Democrat Senate and Congress so that he will be neutered for the rest of his time in office. I firmly believe that that's what the rhinos are about, John.
Well, and some of them, I think, some of the rhino types are afraid that this will work. I mean, quite aside from the issue of Trump's involvement in it, they hear their Democrat friends across the aisle, the people that they've regarded as their betters, their leaders, the people who are the natural ruling class of this country. And those Democrats are out there giving interviews saying, if we get rid of vote fraud, we can never win an election again. They're openly looking you in the face and saying, if Save America Act passes and there's no more ballot fraud, we'll never win another election. And some of those rhinos hear that and believe them and say, we can't have that. I mean, we don't want to do that to our buddies and pals across the aisle in the Democratic Party, and that's one of the reasons why they oppose it.
You guys down in Florida have a lot of people who came from communist countries, and the Democrat chair admitted that 2 nights ago and said, yeah, we have to sell the Democrat socialist movement in a different way in Florida. We cannot be as in your face about it down here because so many of the people here actually can't escape from communist and socialist countries, and they don't want to go back. They certainly don't want America going to that. We have the same thing happening here. We have a little boy that's running for the Senate, and he's getting a lot of help from the outside. He's receiving a lot of money, $70 million so far from outside of Texas. His name is James Tallarico, and he truly is a little boy. He's really fixated on trans children. He wants them to be transitioned, either through surgery or drugs. He also loves the idea of an open border. He loves the idea of getting rid of meat in the state of Texas. But, man, John, are they doing a nose job right now? They are lying about him in so many ways on all of his commercials, saying that he voted for border protection. He wants a secure border, which, in fact, his votes in the Texas House were exactly the opposite of that. And on it goes to where they think that they're going to be able to lie their way into an election. And I got to tell you, looking at our urban centers, including San Antonio and Houston and Austin and Dallas, those are lost to Democrats. It's going to take the suburban areas and the rural areas if we are going to hang on, and I mean conservatives are going to hang on to the Senate seat here in Texas. They're going to steal it.
Well, you said it yourself. It's enthusiasm. And one of the things they're worried about is that the people on the other side are going to get enthusiastic. The Republican voters, the centrists, the moderates, they're going to come out of their relative stupor here and become enthusiastic about voting against Democrats. If they look at somebody like James Tallarico and see this repulsive freak that scares the hell out of them, that stands for everything that they hate, then they're going to march to the polls to vote against him. So the game now is to lie about him, obscure his record, muddle his talking points and so on, and try to create at least a little room for there to be some talk that maybe he's not as much of an extremist as his opponents say he is, and then the moderates and centrists and Republicans will stay home. I don't think it's going to work. I think people know he is, and I think they're going to line up in formation to fight against him.
I certainly hope that's the case. And what's interesting, too, is that he calls himself a Presbyterian minister. From the Valley to just north of here, it's pretty Catholic, and then you get into Austin, it's godless. And north of Austin up through Dallas, it's pretty Southern Baptist-y and evangelical Christian. But this guy is on record, and it's all on my X account, is saying God is non-binary. God gave Mary the option to abort Jesus, told her, if you want to abort him and get rid of him, that's just fine with me. I mean, the guy is a real freak. In fact, I've come up with several names, Transfrico, Talafrico, and then I call him Transcreepo. But I'm back to calling him by his real name because that's where he is. He's all over television like crazy here. And I hope you're right. I hope that common sense people will wake up and fight against this guy. Now, one other thing, I did a video yesterday. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, it's a big national concern for the Democrats, too. You can see the polls turning. Some of the projections for how they're going to do are starting to go sour on them. And a big part of the reason is that some of their candidates are so extreme that they're worried that the country is starting to, come up together and say, gee, the Republicans haven't filled me with joy here, but I really can't let these people run the country. It's really risky to bet on a dynamic like that the majority of people are going to sleep through the election and you can push your extremists through it. And I really don't think this is going to be that kind of an election.
Absolutely. You and I have been talking for a long time about these hits, attempted hits on President Trump coming from the Democrat left-wing communist rhetoric in this country, either from their thought leaders, their politicians, and leaking out through their media, just their media colluding with them and getting the message out there that Trump is Hitler, MAGA is a bunch of Nazis who want to lock you up and kill you and all that stuff. And so the result is you end up with these hit jobs. The same thing is true about ICE. We had the guy a couple of days ago tried to light the building in New York on fire, and he had all kinds of anti-ICE paraphernalia on him. Charlie Kirk lost his life to a tranny, allegedly, who wrote stuff on the shell casings about it. So their rhetoric definitely leads to violence. That's a fact. It is traceable, and we can see it. So when Mamdani started to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu and his arrest, I was saying it's not the arrest that he's after, because he knows damn well that he cannot arrest Benjamin Netanyahu in September when he gets there. He's looking for something else. And let me play for you what he said last night, and pay close attention, ladies and gentlemen, to the music, because what he is doing here is he is trying to incite. He's trying to get to people. He's trying to dog whistle people, and they're using this really melodic music and these claims about Netanyahu to do it.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large.
John, it never was about arresting Benjamin Netanyahu, in my view. It's all the other stuff that he claimed. Yep.
Yeah, it's all the hatred. He needs the hatred. He needs the anti-Semitism. He needs the commie army marching in the streets, screaming. He wants the violence. He wants people to decide, listen to everything he just said. Some of his kookball supporters are going to listen to all that and say, well, obviously, we have to take matters into our own hands. I mean, Zoram just told us that, he can't arrest Netanyahu, so we better go get him. And that's what he's hoping for. That's what he wants. This is what happens when you put people like him in power. The streets are going to run with blood, and they'll never stop until he's gone, and the people who think the way he does are gone. I mean, really, not a word in there about Hamas, huh? Nothing about October 7th. No idea why there was a war, in the Middle East. Would he arrest Hamas if they showed up in New York? Do you think this clown would actually try to arrest the Hamas war criminals? Not a chance. He'd throw them at dinner parties.
Yep.
And I mean, that's all anybody needs to know about this. Don't listen to him. Don't let people like him have power. But be aware that there is a rising tide of this vicious anti-Semitic communism in the Democratic Party and on the left. And the magic words to understand it are downward mobility. There are so many well-to-do kids in the upper middle class, kids that are rich by any objective measure, but they think their future is gone. They think it's been stolen. They think AI is going to leave them unemployable. They think that some rich fat cat, stole their livelihood. And they're all terrified of downward mobility, and that's why they're voting for the commies. They see the commies talking about taking everything over and enforcing cosmic justice, and these are people that are a bizarrely privileged generation that still thinks they don't have a future. So they're willing to vote for people who tell them things like that.
When in fact the commies will do more to depress and repress them. As Marco Rubio said today in Manila, and I'm going to go through this after 7 o'clock, his comments, he was talking about Cuba and that Cuba has never wanted success or prosperity because prosperity means you cannot control the people. The communists that are on the move in America, they realize the lack of economic prosperity equals they can control the people. So they don't want their people. They don't want anybody to be prosperous. That means they can't control them. As long as you're not prosperous on your own, as long as you're not providing for yourself, they control you. That's actually what they're after, completely the opposite of what they're talking about.
Right. Capitalism is the only system under which you own yourself, under which you own your labor, and you're free to sell it to whoever wants to buy it. There is no other system where that's the case. And if you're seduced by the promises of socialism, understand that when they're finished, you will not have that freedom anymore, and that means you will not be a free person.
That's exactly right. John Hayward, Breitbart.com, the author of Dr. Zero Year One. John, you're the man. Thank you, as always, for your time. He's here every Wednesday at this time to share his thoughts with you on KTSA. Back in a minute, Trey Ware, KTSA. 1 today, 77 now, KTSA. That's great. He just hung out for a couple of extra minutes to toss the pledge in here. 655 KTSA. I want to lighten the load for a minute. If you head over to my X account, that's Trey Ware, at Trey Ware Show on X, you'll see this incredible video. A guy out in the middle of, I don't know, the middle of nowhere, literally, like the plains are just flat land there. It's the middle of nowhere. There's a telephone pole in the air. On top of the telephone pole, I'll just let him tell you as he calls 911.
I know. I'm on Highway 56.
Are you calling about a bear?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it's on the power pole.
Yeah, it's alive.
Yes. Just leave it.
Okay.
Just leave it.
And because I already called the Game and Fish, and they said there's nothing that they could do. They could go and shoot it.
Nothing you can do, yeah.
It to get it down.
You got to get a supervisor to get it down. Folks, go look at it. It's on my X account. It's a bear. And I don't mean like a little bear. This is a gigantic, like humongous bear.
On a pole?
On top of a telephone pole, like 100 feet in the air. This is incredible. And, I mean, it's just laying up there on the tee. You know, a telephone pole's got a tee on it because the wires run down it. He's laying on the tee, hanging on for dear life. Who's the guy that's going to go get the bear off the telephone pole? Who's going to who's going to ask for that duty?
Open up a jar of honey and put it on the very bottom of the pole, and hopefully he'll climb down.
The bear can't. He's scared to death. He's holding on to he's got a bear hug on the pole as he's trying to keep from falling down. And it's like, hey, somebody get up here and get me.
I'm on Highway 56.
Are you calling about a bear?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it's on the power pole.
Yeah, it's alive.
Stupid pet tricks from the Dave Letterman show back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Did they get him down?
I have no idea. I don't know. We don't follow up or anything like that. I just toss this stuff out there. It's not like I'm going to.
We just like to throw out their.
I'm not going to call up and go, hey, did y'all get that bear down up there? Somebody, one way or the other. I can tell you this, Elaine. One way or the other, the bear's not up there anymore.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well,
Thank you.
just telling you it's not there anymore.
What about firefighters?
You going to send a firefighter up there?
No, they're not going to do it. They don't get paid for that.
Yeah.
They go get cats out of trees.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. They do.
Cat, yeah.
Yeah.
You just tranquilize the bear. You get a net for when it falls down and you catch it.
That's it, Jimmy,
That's all
right
you
there.
do.
That's what you do is you shoot him with a tranquilizer. I've seen him do that in trees before.
Yeah, and the fireman that Elaine wants to see could hold a little trampoline.
That's the one. I don't know if you've ever seen
They
this.
have bucket trucks.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they do. They set up a trampoline. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
When they're in a high tree and they'll shoot them with the tranquilizer, they fall on the trampoline and then they bounce way in the air and come off the trampoline and hit the ground.
Well, they look like Plinko when they tranquilize them. They hit a branch, then they hit another branch, and then they ass overhead.
Yep.
But it's a full-grown bear,
Yes.
so a bucket truck's not going to help.
This thing is gigantic.
You got to let them just fall down.
Was that a brown bear or a black bear?
That was a brown bear.
That's a bear of
That's a
color.
big one.
That's a bear of color, sir.
It's a bear from south of the
What's
border.
the saying? Brown bear.
What you talking
fight,
about? Huh?
Black bear.
What?
Something lay down.
Yeah.
White bear.
When I did that thing over here at Gordon Hartman's place, Morgan's Wonderland, for the remember that? We did that show, and the guy who gave the speech, the keynote speech, went through that, and I don't remember it. One of them was like, kiss your fanny goodbye if it's this kind of bear.
If it's a white bear,
that
say
Kodiak,
goodnight.
That's it. Kodiak bear will kill you no
Polar
matter
bear.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big
white
grizzly.
Bear, say
You're
goodnight.
done.
Yeah,
Black
you're
bear
done.
lay down.
Yeah. A brown bear.
No, brown bear lay down.
Whatever it is, we're late. We got.
How about just avoid the bears altogether?
That's what I think.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Back in a minute, KTSA.
Folks, whether you're home
Half the day is over. All right. Let's go. 210-599-5555. Last half hour, guy by the name of Carol called. Didn't make it on because we were talking to John Hayward, but he wanted to talk about Brandon Gill. I like old Brandon Gill. In fact, I did a video yesterday. You can see it on the KTSA Facebook page. Brandon Gill has introduced legislation to remove the exemptions for those who want to be citizens in our country. They have all kinds of carve-outs and exemptions to speaking our language. So you can get away with becoming a citizen of the U.S. and not know one word of English. Now, his legislation does not say you can't speak another language. That's ridiculous. But, of course, that's how the Democrats are going to position this, but that's not what it says. What it says is if you want to be a citizen of this country, you have to speak English. Is that too much to ask? 210-599-5555, a non-English speaking truck driver from Ukraine led into the United States by Joe Biden, which was Obama's third term, killed 2 Americans on his cell phone driving a semi-truck, drove over a couple of people. They all had kiddos, by the way. 1 man and 1 woman had kiddos at home. Andriy Dmytrenko pled guilty to it. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians were let in under the Biden-Obama administration. So is it too much to ask that you at least speak English to be in the country? I know that there are people that will say, yes, it is, Trey. That's just too much of a burden if you want to be an American citizen. You want to be an American citizen, you shouldn't have to speak the common language. And that's because people don't understand history. And people never read The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. You know what knocked them out? Well, there was a bunch of things, but you know primarily what they said was? The whole idea of we have to be multicultural, and we put that above everything else, and that means a common language. And they gave it up. You didn't have to speak Latin and all the other stuff anymore. No, you didn't have to speak that anymore. You didn't have to understand it anymore. And when people got to Rome, they were speaking all kinds of different languages, and nobody could communicate together, and they didn't have a common vision for the country, and the next thing you know, they cross the Rubicon, and you know all the other stuff. That's where you are. And there's people fighting against making it a requirement. It is a requirement. Now, don't anybody call me and say, it's already a requirement. But there are all kinds of exemptions to that requirement, and Brandon Gill just wants to remove the exemptions. That's all. And I think they ought to be removed. Shouldn't be any exemptions to that. You want to be here, speak English. If you can't speak English, you can't be a citizen of this country. Plain and simple as the nose on you. You know what that is? That's what we used to call. That's what my daddy used to call common sense, which we don't seem to have much of in this country anymore. Common sense. Speaking of common sense, and Brandon Gill. When Mr. Carroll called in the last half hour, I want to talk about Brandon Gill and the Smithsonian testimony yesterday. The whack job head of the Smithsonian, the history director there, they have been doing all kinds of stuff with the Smithsonian. You're going to hear some of it now. Mickey Mouse's blackface. Look, here's an exhibit featuring a bunch of trannies, a bunch of cross-dressing drag queens, a bunch of bondage people with the mask and the ball gags, all that other stuff. Oh, yeah, that's in the Smithsonian. Oh, yeah. And, of course, this whole thing about white supremacy. Listen to this.
Yes, is it important to be polite?
Excuse me, sir?
Is it important to be polite?
Yes, sir.
It's also interesting because the same mass action toolkit that your organization has been promoting references politeness as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture. Ma'am, are you a white supremacist?
No, sir.
You're not? Can you help me square why your organization says that being polite is part of being a white supremacist?
I'm not exactly familiar with that passage of the Mass Action Toolkit, which is not
I can show you the
one that we
passage. It's
developed.
right here.
And he's holding the piece of paper up.
Pardon me?
I said I just read you the passage from it.
So if you're polite, you're a white supremacist. Now, according to the Smithsonian, where people go to learn about the United States of America,
white supremacy culture right here. This is part of the mass action toolkit that your organization has promoted for several years now under your leadership.
Listen to her response. Director Hardig. This
Are
is
you
her
promoting a white supremacy culture at the Smithsonian?
She's looking down and writing.
Am I promoting a white?
Ma'am, is this a difficult question?
No, sir, I'm just thinking about the mass action toolkit.
Yeah, what's in that mass action toolkit promoted by the Smithsonian Institute? And I can tell you, it's all anti-American. It's all hate Whitey, because Whitey's all Whiteys are racist, and Mickey Mouse is blackface.
Is Mickey Mouse racist?
Mickey Mouse is not racist.
It's not racist. According to the Smithsonian institution, one of your exhibits referenced Mickey Mouse as representing, quote, vestiges of long-standing traditions of blackface minstrelsy. Would you describe that as racist?
No, the historical trajectory of the origins of Mickey Mouse tied directly
so Mickey Mouse is rooted in racism. Is that your testimony?
No, sir, it's rooted in minstrelsy.
Minstrelsy, and you don't think that blackface minstrelsy is racist?
It had certain unobvious racial overtones that have been well documented.
Yeah. So at the end, she did say, absolutely, Mickey Mouse is racist. These are the people that are showing our history and our people to the rest of the world through the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. What happened to just go see Kitty Hawk? I mean, come on. Hey, Jason, you're on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Trey. Hey, a couple things. Another hearing. So are they going to remove her? Or is this lady going to lose her job? Are they going to change the hiring practices and standards for the deep state people that lead our institutions in D.C.? Yeah, what's going to come of this?
Nothing.
So we identify these things and nothing happens.
That's right.
But this is another indicator, Trey, of the deep state, okay? And they hire some of these woke leaders. Well, she's not a leader. She's a dumbass, actually. But they hire these folks. They don't even know what's going on in their organizations. Everybody that works for the Smithsonian probably adheres to those practices, and they're going to change history another way, just like they're doing in schools.
Well, and thank you, Jason. I appreciate it very much. It's all part of the plot, okay, but she does know what's going on. This whole thing that she's played dumb yesterday, she knows exactly what's going on. That's why she's hired, and that's why I have said for a very long time, and Jason, you've listened to the show for a long time, I have said these bureaucrats, these people that run these agencies and these organizations like this, they should be term limited out just like we term limit the president out. They should be removed and forced to go out of our system and bring in some fresh blood. In fact, the president ought to be able to put fresh blood in every time he comes in, every time a new president comes in, and these bureaucrats can't have a position for life because they're installed in there by those who want to change history, just like through the school system. It's all about programming the minds of people about how awful the United States of America is. We're nothing but a bunch of white supremacists. Look, even Mickey Mouse played blackface. Even Mickey Mouse is racist. And if you're kind to each other, if you're polite, then you're a racist. It's white supremacy. We all call that nonsense. And again, I go back to the whole idea of common sense, which we don't have in this country anymore. And it's getting further and further away from us. I'll take a quick break. 210-599-5555. Trey Ware here. Sean will be back on Monday. Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC is here for you anytime you need them. That's 24/7, 365. For over 43 years, Quarter Moon has been here taking care of your AC issues this time of year. What are we talking about today, 101? Okay. Means the AC is going to be really struggling to keep up all afternoon. Make sure that it's ready to go by having Quarter Moon do a complete system check of your AC. They come out, they clean all the lines, they clean the entire system, vacuum everything out. They take a look at the capacitor to make sure that the energy transfer, the electronic transfer is all good. Take a look at the compressor inside the unit, outside, and, of course, they take a look at the refrigerant to make sure you're good to go there. Then they help you maintain it. If you sign up with their maintenance program, they help you maintain it to make sure you're not going to have a problem. And if you ever do, don't worry about getting all hot and bothered. Just call Quarter Moon, and they'll come out and get you cool all over again. And the same is true with all their plumbing services as well. Like I said, 43 years of difference-making in South Texas. That's Quarter Moon AC and Plumbing at 210-651-5899. Heat alert for San Antonio and South Texas, 101 today, 75 right now, KTSA. Thank you, Jackson. He'll be here at 9:50 this morning. Elaine and Jimmy and Chris Dunn, we're going to lighten the load. And I mean quite literally lighten the load. I did a video sitting on my front porch yesterday because I did a little research. We had a couple of guys here who shall remain nameless who got the and it was not pretty. One of them went to Taco Bell, and the other one had a salad that he picked up some lettuce at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And they both got. So I started to check into this whole Taylor Farms thing because it was said a couple of days ago, the FDA said it wasn't Taylor Farms. And then the next day, oh, yes, it was. I don't know how that other story got out there. How did that happen, Christian? Why did the story change within 24 hours?
That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer.
Well, you're the news guy. You're supposed to know these things.
Hey, I'm digging as fast as I can,
Well,
but
come
I had some lettuce too, and
How did you do?
I'm hanging in there. I'm lying.
Okay.
I don't eat much lettuce.
Well, I wasn't gonna. You guys can say if you had to or not, because or you don't have to say so.
Yeah, we
you know,
don't
it's
have
up.
to
It's
think
up to
about
you.
your
No.
bowel
It's all good. But Jimmy, are you going to say anything?
No, has anyone died from this? Or
No.
they just inconvenienced?
Very well inconvenienced.
Okay.
Exactly right.
All
It's
right, move along, people, with your lives.
No, here's the
Jeez
thing.
Louise.
Here's what I did. I did some checking. This Taylor Farms is in center part of Mexico.
Yep.
Now, here's why it's a story.
Always blaming the brown people.
No. This is why it's a story. Because they sell to Cisco.
Okay.
It's not ringing a bell with you at all.
Yeah, it does.
We all know who Cisco is.
Okay.
We don't know why it just affected Taco Bell. I'm surprised that Chipotle.
It didn't just affect Taco Bell. In fact, a lot of people, like one of the guys, I just said, two guys got it here. One at Taco Bell, one picked up lettuce at the grocery store, and both of them got it. So it affected grocery stores as well.
Yep.
Cisco sells to every restaurant in America.
So Taco Bell got a bad rap.
Of course they did. They always get a bad rap. Taco Bell always gets a bad rap. So anyway, researchers, when asked how you combat this, they said there's really no, if you go out to eat, you're more than likely going to eat this food because they sell so much of it through Cisco that doesn't matter where you go, whether it's Taco Bell or anywhere else, if you eat lettuce, you're more than likely eating their lettuce from this farm. Chances are really good. So make sure, number one, that you cook it if possible. And number two, that you wash it, although the researchers said washing it really doesn't do all that, doesn't do that much to help it. And so what I said in the video was, number one, make sure that you have a key to the executive washroom so you can get there in a hurry, okay? Because you never know. You
just don't eat lettuce for about a month.
And number two, make friends with all those people that hoarded the TP during COVID because they've got it all. You may need a friend in a time like this. You didn't think about that, did you? They were smart.
They only get it for like 2 or 3 days.
Huh?
They only get the situation
That's
for like
it.
2 or 3 days.
See, this is why I switched to fresh spinach a long time ago.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, but you can still get it on
You can
spinach.
still get it
Yeah,
on
because it's
but that's not happening.
It's the workers. They need to lave las manos.
Yeah, they
Come
do,
on,
don't
let's
they?
go, dude.
Come on, clean it up.
But this has hurt, immunity. These people are now going to be stronger in their gut by going through this.
There's a silver lining to the cloud.
That's right. Thank you, Jimmy.
They're going to be stronger.
You're going to
in
be
life.
good after this. Nothing's going to get to that iron cast stomach when this is over with.
Pepto-Bismol and just move on.
Yeah,
Move on.
you can handle Elaine's enchiladas.
Yeah.
Did
there you go.
you mean to say move on? Because they don't have any problem with that. They're moving on just fine. You know what I mean?
There's a pun.
Pepto-Bismol. Is
Yeah.
Your friend.
Pepto-Bismol.
Is your friend.
Yeah. Anyway.
She took the L out? I thought there was an L.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
Bismol.
Pepto-Bismol, y'all.
Give me some Pepto-Bismol.
This is my little urban girl over here. You know what I mean? My rap queen, Elaine.
Well, now that you finished the story, I'm glad you started it by saying I was sitting on the porch.
Yes, I was.
Oh, so what were you doing? You were reading the news stories.
Yeah, just
that Taylor Farms got a bad rap, and so
Yeah.
did Taco Bell.
Well, you know what I do is every afternoon I go out and sit on the porch for a few minutes before I come in to crash, and I go through a lot of the stuff that I've been researching all day, because researching the researchers is just something I do, so that I can come in here and talk like this. So, anyway, that's what I was doing yesterday, and so all those people that hoarded the TP back during the COVID time, they were right. They were absolutely right.
They may really be able to cash in on this.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
You sell some of that? Sell some of your back stock?
I mean, they were 6 years ahead, but still.
That's all right. I got one for you, Elaine, in Big Timber, Montana. 14-year-old Jory Thomas. Did Montana make your ears perk up?
Yeah.
Okay. She's a Montana girl. He was out practicing his rope loops. We all see cowboys do that, and it's so they can get it around the cow, around the horse, around the whatever they're trying to. You've all seen him lasso, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So he's 14 years old, and he's practicing that, and then he hears in the Yellowstone River, he hears a guy screaming for help, help, help.
Oh, wow.
So he runs over there, and this guy is going under in the Yellowstone River. Rory empties out his pockets, takes his rope with him, goes out into the river, ropes the dude who is drowning, and pulls the dude to the shore to safety, and the dude is alive today because of 14-year-old cowboy Rory.
God bless cowboys.
Yes, he did. That was a great story.
Isn't that killer?
Yep.
I like more of that.
If you can rope a calf, why not a human?
Well, he did. You can.
And to do it in the water and at 14, that's pretty good.
And if you do it the right way, you end up in the Smithsonian. So
yeah.
That's the way it is. All right, quick break, 210-599-5555. River City Oral Surgery, full mouth dental implants from Dr. Havercorn at River City Oral Surgery can help you look better, feel better, live a healthier life. How does it help you live a healthier life? In a couple of ways. Number one, infection in your mouth is one of the leading causes of heart conditions in this country. It's just a fact. There is a direct connection between the health of your mouth and your heart. And so if you have a healthier mouth and they can get the infection out of there, then you've got a healthier heart and you're in much better shape. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you've got missing or broken teeth, if your hammers are broken in the back or if your cutters are broken in the front or you're missing them, then you're not chewing correctly and you may be having some choking issues. And if you've noticed that recently, River City Oral Surgery is here to help you get these full mouth dental implants. Why do I recommend them? Well, first of all, Havercorn is a great guy. Number two is all three phases of your full mouth dental implants are headed up by specialists. So they're not just trusting you to somebody who took a weekend course. These are folks that are dedicated in their own field of specialization. And the other thing is clear, upfront, low pricing. It's all on the website at rivercityoms.com. You see the prices, and that's the price you're going to pay. When you get there, there's no games and no gimmicks and no upselling. They don't have any salespeople, so you don't have to worry about that. You're going to get the best in care, beautiful full mouth dental implants, and live a healthier life when you see our friends at River City Oral Surgery, rivercityoms.com.
News Talk 550 KTSA and the Gomez Law Firm present the 2026 Back to School Drive. Saturday, August 1st from 11 till 1 or while supplies last at the Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Free backpacks and school supplies for all school-aged children while supplies last. Saturday, August 1st from 11 till 1. Sponsored in part by the College for Healthcare Professionals, AI United Insurance, Centromed, Tomalitos Restaurants, Somerset Academy, and Bromo Door Supply.
Well, at Evolve Medical Group, evolvemedgroup.com, man, they can help you feel better. And when you feel better, you get more active. And when you're more active, you tend to look better. And that's exactly what they can do for you at Evolve Medical Group. If you have pain and if you have limited movement, is that lower back giving you a tough time? How about your knees? I get it, man. I go through all of that myself, and then I started to see Rodney and the team at Evolve Medical Group, and I feel so much better these days. I get around better than I ever have. In fact, it's progressive because every day I feel better and better and better and better. PRP, stem cells, hormone replacement, GLP-1 medications, whatever it is you need. And they discover that. The big thing right now is peptides and IV. And they discover what you need by doing a DNA test. It doesn't hurt. You don't even know they're doing it. They just stick a thing in your mouth and out. And they take a swab kind of deal, send it off to the lab. They come back with your DNA markers, and then they can tailor-make your program to what it is that you need specifically. So they do accept insurance, so I want you to find out more about our friends at Evolve Medical Group. You can log on to the website, book your appointment. They have several locations around town. I go to Pat Booker, which is where they're going to be today, in the Pat Booker location. I go there because it's convenient to the radio station, but wherever you choose to go to any of their locations, evolvemedgroup.com.
Guests of Ware and Rima appear via the Stevens Roofing Newsmaker Hotline.
Don't miss the sizzling summer sale.
vacation. 32 years ago, when Dad and I started the Ware pair, we had this thing we called Bits and Pieces, where we ran through stories really quickly, took your calls at the end of it. I called it Quick Hits now, 210-599-5555. So here's Trey Ware's Quick Hits. House voted last night 215 to 214. Approval is the default when qualified service members asked to carry a gun on military bases. I have been in favor of this from the beginning of time. I think military members have a constitutional right called the Second Amendment to carry a gun on all military installations. And I got raked over the coals in 2009 when Adal Hassan shot a bunch of people up here at Fort Hood. See what happens when you allow military members to carry a gun. No, he illegally carried a gun because they weren't legal, and a bunch of people died. Why? Because they didn't have a gun. Had one person in that cafeteria had a gun, Adal Hassan would not have been able to kill as many people as he did. All he had to do was one person could have taken him out. And that's why, and even before that happened, I've been in favor of the most qualified people on earth to carry a gun, our military people. And I was really surprised, by the way, because I had military members call me, and you guys can call me now if you want to. You're crazy. Those are the last people I would. And I'd say, are you in the military? Yes, I am. I serve right over here at SAMC. I wouldn't want any of these people carrying a gun. Really? We had last year 5 shot at Fort Stewart. Y'all know where that is? That's in Georgia. All them Georgia peaches over there. You had 5 people shot this time last year in Georgia at Fort Stewart. We should never have another soul shot on a military base, and that's what the claim was last night when the House approved it 215 to 214, that if you're qualified, you go to your CO, hey, can I carry a gun? And the CO's response, the default is, yes, you can. That's the default now. The other thing that got passed, that TRICARE will not cover trans hormones. So if you're a guy and you want to talk like this, TRICARE is not going to pay for it, and boys can't play in girls' sports on military institutions. So I think that's good. 210-599-5555. 210-599-5555. I don't anticipate that we're going to hear, Elaine, from military people because they get in trouble if they talk publicly. And I always tell them, you can change your name. You can say, you're General so-and-so calling in. Go ahead. Say you're General so-and-so.
That or they're probably already at work.
Or they're sitting in line on 78 outside of Randolph. There's always a heck of a line out there. Fauci. God. I rarely hate people because that's a strong word. But I dislike this man. I dislike him. Just my personal opinion, I think we were screwed over for years through COVID by Anthony Fauci. I think he was involved in a cover-up. Just my own personal opinion, just from what I've read, I think he was involved in a cover-up. I think he probably helped pay for COVID with our tax money, obviously. And then everything that we were forced to do, like take a shot, and I rue the day I had to take it for our travel company because we were traveling at the time, and I had to take it, but I'm so sorry I did, and the whole face mask thing. I'll never wear one of those things again. They'll never do that to me again. And I'm so sorry for those of you who had the bravery and you said no, you're not sticking a needle in my arm. Fire me if you will, and that's what happened to military members. For those of you who refused to put a face mask on, and so you just said, I'm not going to go there. If they require a face mask, I'm not going to go. And you're my hero because you were right. And the rest of us complied, which we should have never done, in my view. I'm just talking for me personally. You do you. Anyway, we have found out since then that he just lied and lied and lied, and all the stuff about 6-foot distancing and stupidity in Walmart. Walmart's one of my favorite places to go. I love it. And you had to follow the stupid arrows and go up this way and down that way, following the arrows. And if you didn't, there was always a Karen there with her phone. Why aren't you going the right way? And you'd be all over the internet. It was just stupid, So now there's another thing that's come out. Rand Paul has been great on this, releasing a bunch of the emails and stuff that these people, these shysters, were sharing behind the scenes. Scientists, and you know what? I'm going to give you their names. Christian Anderson, Robert Gary, Eddie Holmes, and Andrew Rambo. They had written a piece in 2020, The Proximate Origin of COVID. And Anthony Fauci took that paper. Very scientific, said Anthony Fauci. And he brought it to the media, and the media said, this is scientific proof that it did not come from a Wuhan lab. This was not lab created. It came when a bat bit a person. Remember that? He was at the wet market and a bat bit him, and now the whole world is dying from COVID. Which I said at the time, that's ridiculous. That's obscene. There ain't no way that a bat bit a dude and the rest of us are now in trouble. And we all remember what they did. You couldn't even go visit your old person, your old mom and dad who were at an assisted living facility, and you had to stand at their window of their room and look through the window and shout at them, hey, Daddy, how you doing? And then Daddy died. And you didn't even get to be with Daddy when he died. I had a great friend. Used to sit in Christian's chair. Used to sit right over there, who died from cancer during that time. And we couldn't even bury the man for almost a year. I'm not kidding. It was just the most pathetic stupidity we ever went through. And it was all about control. We know that now. I mean, you liberals won't admit that, but those of us who are clear-headed and common sense people, we know that that's what it was about. Now, control you. Put the stuff in your arm, and we'll just tell you when to go where and how to go there, and put that crap on your face. Stupidity. Why am I calling it stupidity? Because that's what these scientists wrote. You see, what these folks, I just gave you their names, along with Anthony Fauci, what they were telling you officially through the media and in the scientific paper is, oh, no, it came about in the wild when a bat bit a person. It did not come from a lab. You know what they were telling each other secretively and privately behind the scenes? It came from a lab. It was the Wuhan flu. It was developed in the Wuhan lab. And I believe developed to unleash on the world so that Eric Holder could go around and say, hey, we need new laws in this country, new voting laws, so everybody vote by mail, which I call cheat by mail, and that's how they stole the 2020 election. That's how they did it, guys. Had a bunch of invalid ballots that were turned in because of cheat by mail, and COVID was unleashed. We know that in fact, Donald Trump mentioned it last Thursday, the Chinese have been meddling in our stuff for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And they've got 220 million identifications on you and me, the voters in America, so that they can influence us. And I believe they use COVID to do that. But going back to this original point, they coordinated, these folks who wrote this piece, they coordinated with Fauci and the intel community to put out one message that this came from nature, from a bat biting a person, but behind the scenes, and Rand Paul has released their own words. Behind the scenes, they were saying, no, it didn't come from the bat bite. It was developed in the Wuhan lab. They were telling you something totally different in 180, and all of us, from what they were telling each other. Hey, Mike, you're on. Good morning.
Hey, Trey, just want to jog your memory. Do you remember anything that you were covering back in, I think, November of 2019 or December of 2019?
Oh, you'll have to be more specific than that, Mike. There are a million things.
You kept asking the question about the satellite photos of the industrial incinerators being brought into China.
Okay. Well.
And I tie that in. I think they knew they had the virus and they were trying to burn it and cover it up.
Well, I don't know if they were trying to get rid of it, though, Mike. And, I'm saying that I believe it was unleashed and unleashed on purpose, and it had specific purposes that they were trying to attain, and they did. They did attain them. I just enumerated them. No, one was to affect the vote, to give them a pretext to go around to these various districts and have these judges change voting law, which Eric Holder specifically did in areas they needed to win for Joe Biden to win. They also knew Joe didn't have a brain, so he could not be out there on the campaign trail. And that was proven in 24. They at least didn't do that in 2020. Remember, he was in his basement? Remember that? And when he did speak, it was in an outdoor drive-in theater with the cars parked 6 feet apart. Remember that stupidity? And it worked for him. They got him elected. They exercised the cheat by mail perfectly, and they used COVID to do it. That's what I believe. So I don't think they were trying to incinerate it and get rid of it at the time. Maybe they were trying to protect themselves and their people. But I think as far as the rest of us is concerned, it played right into their hands, and it worked like a charm for them. But my point is, this morning we have now more emails and more conversations behind the scenes with the people who would come out on camera, and they would say to you, it was a bat bite that caused this. Why? In fact, remember the reporter from Fake News ABC saying to President Trump, "Why do you keep calling it the China flu?" And he said, "Because it came from China." That's when President Trump was still the president back then. That's why I call it the China flu. You know what? He was right. It came from China, and it came from a lab called the Wuhan lab. I called it the Wuhan flu.
Was that Jim Acosta?
No, Jim was with
CNN.
It was a girl with ABC.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
That was
it Mary Bruce?
Was it the Asian reporter, and she took issue with the fact that he said
might have been. I don't know. I could look it up. It's all on the X account. I could check it and see. But that's even a small potato thing right now. The fact is, they were saying something completely different publicly than what they were saying to each other behind the scenes. They were lying their butts off to you. Amazing.
You know what else we were covering in November and December right before COVID?
What's that?
Phase 1 of that trade deal that China signed with Trump.
Well, I remember that.
Yep. It was 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. We got a virus coming.
Right. And it came right here to San Antonio. Remember the lady who went to Lackland and then she went to North Star Mall, coughed on everybody at North Star. Yeah, coughed on everybody over there. As you have snot right now.
It's Elaine's fault.
Michael, go right ahead. Hi, Michael.
Good morning. There was a lady on Project Veritas about a year ago who had claimed that she could get, or she was advertising that she could get 5,000 votes for $50,000. She was going around ballot harvesting. She was never prosecuted. That was in Texas, and they dropped the ball. So
Michael, thank you for your call. I got to run, but it wasn't only just in Texas; it was here, and it made the national news. Let me tell you about my friends at Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is brand spanking new or it's old and goldie home, your water is super important. And your friends at Alamo Water Softeners, they have a complete solution for better water in your home. Take it from one who knows. The very first customer of Alamo Water Softeners sitting right here in this chair. And the minute we put it in, that was in 2009, Nancy and I noticed a major difference in the quality of the water at the warehouse. I want you to notice the difference as well because the technology has advanced so much more since 2009. And Alamo Water Softeners now has the all-in-one home bundle. Now, what this does, it features their Water Care water softener, a premium Water Care water softener, reverse osmosis drinking water system, leak detection protection, and a water heater, all designed to protect your home and improve the quality of your water for the entire family. Your kiddos are bathing in it. You're drinking it. You want to make sure it's the best of the best. And for a limited time, qualified homeowners take advantage of 36 months, 0% financing. So you can use their money for 36 months and enjoy this all-in-one bundle right now. Log on to the website. Mention Trey Ware when you do. AlamoWaterSofteners.com. Well, we got a heat alert for San Antonio, South Texas today. Going to be sunny, 101, 75 now, KTSA. Hey, listen, love to have you say the pledge. 210-654-5155 is the number. Just leave it on my voicemail. Let's listen to Huey Lewis in the news. Oh, so early in the morning for Huey and the boys. Get it, son. Hello, sleepyhead. Absolutely love that song. That entire album, that era for Huey was just fantastic. Guy's got a cochlear now. He can't hear anything now. He's deaf. Meniere's disease got him. Scott Bessent, Treasury, stopped $100 million in payments to dead people. Now, you Democrats can raise Cain at Donald Trump all day long and his people, but they are saving this country from utter destruction. And you Democrats might win after all. You may end up destroying the country after all. I don't know how it's all going to turn out. The older I get, the more I realize there's only one person I can control, and the outcome is from one person, and that's moi. I can't control what anybody else does or anything else like that, so I don't worry about that anymore. But you guys may win. You may end up winning the whole ball of wax and destroying this country and turning it into communist USA. I can't control that. What I can do is talk about the things that are going on to try to save it, and that's what Scott Bessent over at Treasury is doing. They're making $885 million payments. $885 million payments that equal $2.7 trillion. But $100 million of those payments, $100 million, going to dead people. Now, here's what is so crazy about it, and this is why I say Democrats trying to destroy the country. We had at one time fraud organizations in place, fraud protection units, as they're called, in place to go out and check. Is Joe Blow a living human being that is receiving these benefits that we're sending out? Tell me, oh wise one, why during the Biden-Obama administration, that's what I call the third term of Barack Hussein, the last 4 years, 2021 through 2025, why, pray tell me, did they disassemble and take apart that fraud protection that was going on in the country, just like they did in Minnesota? We all know what happened in Minnesota. Well, they did it countrywide. So, in other words, if somebody applied for benefits, there was no follow-up to make sure that it was a living, breathing, needful person to get those benefits. They just mailed the checks out. We just spent a whole segment talking about COVID. You remember the blind theft that was going on during COVID, how much money was stolen during the whole COVID thing, just shoving money out the door. Well, that's been the Democrat way for years. And, no, I'm not just picking on Democrats. Democrats have led the charge on it. There have been plenty of Republicans that are guilty as hell of fraud and stealing from the American people. And Scott Bessent, at the direction of President Trump, is trying to get all that stopped. James Tallarico wants to be your senator. I think we ought to talk about this in the next hour, how you feel about Mr. Tallarico, Mr. Tallacrepo. Mr. Trans is the most important thing that we can deal with in the state of Texas. They got to man him up because he's certainly not gay. When you look at the guy, you don't see a gay guy, do you? He's certainly not gay. So they got to man the guy up. How can they make him big and tough? Well, first of all, they have television commercials where he's lying, saying directly the opposite of what he actually did. But also they put out a new commercial. And here he is, driving a Ram truck, wearing a cowboy hat.
Across Texas, people are waking up before the sun.
Yeah.
Working hard.
Oh, there he's saddling. You'll love that, Elaine. He's saddling a horse with a cowboy hat on.
Is it a black or white hat?
I don't know. He's in the dark.
I was born to one of those people. A single mom, guided by faith, who did whatever it took to provide for me.
Oh, now he's riding a horse with a cowboy hat on. It's a straw. That one's a straw.
As a teacher, I saw families doing everything right and still falling behind. In the State House, I brought both parties together to
no, you didn't.
Lower drug costs.
No, you didn't.
Cut property taxes.
No, you cut property taxes. Mato. Here's what he voted for. He voted for higher taxes. He voted for higher property taxes, and he voted for higher taxes on families. That's right, families raising children. He voted to raise your taxes.
I'm James Tallarico, and I approve this message because I'll take on corruption and make this economy work for working people again.
There he goes, driving away in his big old Ram truck with his cowboy hat on. That James Tallarico right there. That boy is Texas. God bless Texas. Back in a minute. I'll take your calls. Trey Ware, KTSA.
Think of your portfolio like a recipe. Every
One word. It's hot. Uh-huh. Okay, Sean is off this week on vacation. Well-deserved, by the way, Sean. So we'll see him back here on Monday. 210-599-5555. Here's some breaking news from President Trump from 4 minutes ago. 4 minutos. From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb the no, he didn't say that, will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald John Trump. 210-599-5555, 210-599-5555. What you think? For every time that, listen to what his words were. Let me do it again. You're driving. Let me do it again. Ready? From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, he doesn't say make contact with. Didn't say hits a ship, shoots at a ship, because remember, a lot of times they shoot at stuff and they miss. Whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other weapon or device, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, there has been discussion, apparently, among the regime people over there of moving Tehran, the capital, getting it out of Tehran and putting it somewhere else. I'll just go through some of my stuff that the Secretary of State was talking about today, because he was, first of all, Marco Rubio's brilliant, okay?
He was on this early this morning, right?
Yeah, it was about, 4 o'clock our time. I got to see it all here. He's in Manila for the ASEAN conference, which he met with China and, others who were there. In fact, Russia's going to be there, and he saw Lavrov. And he said, we didn't get a chance to talk. We just said hello to each other, but we're going to talk. This guy, here's what I love about Marco Rubio. He makes it really understandable. In the past, Secretary of States wanted you to believe they were smarter than you. And they, line one, you couldn't figure out what they were saying. But Marco Rubio, he just brings it down to street level. He says this is the deal. He says Iran is in more trouble than they've ever been economically. That Iran has runaway inflation. It's like 300 and some odd % right now. So inflation is critical condition. They spent 20 years of all of their money buying missiles and drones and let the country crumble. It's just falling apart, meaning the infrastructure, the power plants, and all that stuff. Now, they've kept up with some of them because they needed some of them for the military, but where the military was not involved, the power plants are crap, the bridges are falling down, and all that kind of stuff. He went on to say that the United States is still open to diplomacy. This is Secretary Marco Rubio talking early this morning. He said, you know what? 2 things. Number one, they can't have a nuke, and number 2, he said, we're going to keep the straits open. And we wish that other countries would join us in keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. We don't need them to, but we wish they would. In fact, some of the other countries are better equipped than us at removing those floating bombs, those mines. So they should join us, but we don't need them to. If they're not going to join us, we're going to do it anyway. That Iran was building tens of thousands of drones and missiles to protect their nuke program, and in fact, in just a few short months, they would have had enough of their drones and missiles, and I believe this, that we would have never been able to get to the nuke program. They would have continued to build the nuke program because it would have been impervious for us to get to it. That the president still prefers a deal here, and the president has many options on the table available to him, and this is one of those options, I suppose, that the Secretary of State was talking about this morning. That they should, come to us and want to make a deal, because the president still wants to make a deal. But anytime they shoot at any ship, not just ours flagged for us, any ship, says the president, we're going to take out a power plant and or a bridge. What you think? Hey, Mark, good morning. Good to hear from you. What's on your mind?
Hey, brother, there's no compromise with evil. The only solution to this, he needs to kill and murder and destroy all the evil leadership that is behind the Iran evil. That's it. He needs to go after all the military people and all the political people that are behind this. And until he kills them all or kills enough of them where they surrender, this ain't going to end.
Man, you're reading my songbook, Mark. I did a lot on that yesterday, and I could not agree more.
Talk to you later, bud.
All right, man. Have a good one. I equated that to World War II. Remember when I said we hit the Japanese so hard, and you know how, that they came with their top hats in hand to the deck of the Missouri and signed papers with Douglas MacArthur. And that's exactly where we are now with these people. And you're right, Mark. You're right. You're going to have to decimate them. Now, you're right. You can go after every bridge and you can go after every power plant that you want to go after, but these guys, they don't care. They're so evil. You could wipe out all the bridges and all the power plants. They're not going to care. They can never compromise. They're Jew haters. They are the modern-day equivalent of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. They want world domination through their one man, who is not a guy with a stupid little mustache. He's a guy they say comes down from heaven and sits on a throne there. And until all the Jews are gone, he ain't coming. This is what they have been taught since they were little bitty. And so they have to kill all the Jews. They have to kill America so that America can't protect the Jews. And then their Mahdi comes and walks in. So they're not going to talk about squat. I mean, they'll lead you down the primrose path, like I've been saying, stringing. You guys listen. You know, I've been talking about how they've been stringing along every president since 1979. Had Jimmy Carter handled business at the very beginning and pummeled these people into submission when they first took over from the Shah of Iran, you would have never been in this point. And Donald Trump said so in 1985. A very young Donald Trump in 1985. What is that, 41 years ago? Said somebody, some president, someday, little did he know it was going to be him, would have to deal with the threat from Iran because they're going to get too big and they're going to try to destroy Israel and us, and we're going to have to take them out. You can see all this again on my X account because I post these videos of these people actually saying this stuff. So it's at Trey Ware Show on X. Here's the president yesterday.
If we left today, it would take them decades to rebuild, and I don't believe they could ever rebuild. And honestly, they haven't seen anything yet. We've been nice. We've been nice.
Well, and today he's out with just a few minutes ago. Look, here's the deal we're going to do. Every time they shoot at a ship in the strait, we take out a bridge and or a power plant.
And we will absolutely attack. The new site that they're talking about. I mean, how about these people? They're in this because of nuclear weapons, and they're trying to possibly reconstitute a site. We'll hit that site.
He's talking about Pickaxe Mountain, which I've told you about many, many times. It was one that we did not hit last summer. They moved a lot of their centrifuges and a lot of their cake into that mountain.
Any site where they're even thinking about nuclear, we'll be hitting it very, very powerfully. Now, nobody knows except the Iranians the damage that we've done to them. We have done damage that will take them 20, 25 years to recover from.
I do believe that, but since they spend every penny on their military infrastructure, they're going to start to work on that. I don't believe there's any chance that they're not going to do that, and so I'm with Mark, and you've heard me say this before, wipe them out. Get rid of that leadership. Get rid of the military. We have Space Force. And we are told that Space Force can see a gnat on your nose. If that's the case, then you know where the drones are, you know where the missiles are, destroy every one of them. Here, once again, is the president's tweet 13 minutes ago. From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald John Trump. I'll take a break, and I'll take your calls at 210-599-5555. If you were hit with the storms last week, and who wasn't, I highly recommend a roof inspection from the best in the biz, and that is Stevens Roofing. I've known these guys and have worked with these guys 20 some odd years. They've been around for over 40 years, repairing and replacing roofs all over South Texas. They're from here. Ed, Dahlia, their entire family, the team of great roofers and experts over at Stevens Roofing can really help you out. They can do a free, no-obligation roof inspection for you. They do them every year for people, including myself. They check every square inch of your roof, all the shingles, all the nails, all the flash points. That's where everything comes together. And then they give you a full report as to how your roof is doing. And if you need any kind of repair, they talk with you about that repair. Or some of you need a whole new roof. And if that's the case, they can show you the various types of composition. That's shingles. And, of course, standing seam metal is unbelievable. Residential and commercial. Metal roofing and composition roofing specialist for South Texas is Stevens Roofing at 210-785-0994. Heat alert for San Antonio, South Texas today. Sunny and 101 all day. 79 now. KTSA. the only pardon that was signed by Joe Biden's hand was the one that Hunter got. All the rest of them, including the J6 committee and commission, all the rest of them were signed by the auto pen. That invalidates them. It'll take an act of Congress and this president to invalidate them, but I think they should. And it's going to take people like you, John, and people who lost loved ones telling their story. I just had Hot Nurse reach out to me a minute ago. She was working in an elder facility. She said they couldn't even open the windows so family members could talk to their old folks that were in there. You think about that for a minute. All right. Chase, you're on. Good morning, sir. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, brother. Hey, listen, it frustrates me with Trump when he does this stuff about one bullet, one bridge. You follow the bullet, you annihilate all of the people that shot the bullet and everything there and all the bullets that came from there. When rockets are shot, you follow where the rocket is, you take out all the rockets and everybody that was was connected with shooting the rocket, annihilate all of them. And then you follow that up with, you follow the people that gave the orders to give those rockets shot and the bullet shot, and you annihilate those. And this bridge stuff, and it's just going to hurt the people. You got to knock out the leadership. You got to knock out the bullets, the rockets, and whatever else they're shooting, and take that stuff out and stop this one bullet, one bridge business.
I totally agree, and it's being reactionary. You know, it's like I talked a lot yesterday about George Patton. And Patton, in his famous speech, said, when you hear that we are holding our position, don't you believe that lie. We ain't holding nothing. We're advancing, and we're advancing, and we're advancing, and we're going to go through the enemy like crap through a goose. And that's what he did. And that's what we need to do. Thank you, Chase. Lyle, go right ahead. You're on. What's on your mind, Lyle?
Hey, Trey, I just wanted to tell you my son, who is 44 years old right now, has had 4 heart attacks and 5 strokes. And the working theory between his internists and the other doctors that are trying to figure this out is that he took the COVID shot and it has direct cause and effect on that. And when he was in intensive care the last time I went to see him, his internist told him that she has 30 patients in the intensive care ward of the 40-somethings, and all of them have either had a heart attack or a stroke. And all of them have had the shot.
Lyle, what is your son's first name?
Daniel.
Daniel? Okay.
He's named after Daniel.
Yeah. The Lion's Den.
Yes.
Well, I'm so sorry that you and your whole family is having to go through that. God, we ask that you protect Daniel, that your healing hand, you are a God of miracles, and you say on earth as in heaven. And we know there's no sickness in heaven at all, so we ask that you bring that to earth. And you touch Daniel, and you touch all those people in that ward where he goes to receive his treatment, all of them, regardless of what the cause is. They're being heavily affected by this, Lord, and we lift every single one of them up to you. You know them, you can see them right now, and you know their conditions. And we offer them up to you for your protection and your healing hand and your grace and your mercy to touch them and Lyle and the rest of his family who are having to deal with this, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Lyle, thank you so much, and God bless you. Back in a minute, I want to tell you about my friends over at Amegy Bank, where they've got this brand-new branch at Bitters and 281, and Amegy is all about small businesses. SBA loans, you betcha. Amegy is fantastic with SBA loans. In fact, they're number 1 in the state of Texas for SBA loans, and when you talk to Amegy, you're talking about families, and, you know, like Lyle's family. And my family and your family. And my family has been helped greatly by the pros over at Amegy Bank. They know how to help your family with loans, mortgage loans, and whatever it is that you need. You got kiddos coming along and you need to take care of them. They can help you with that as well. They can help you with certain investments. You need a CD for this and that. You need to park some money so it grows and it just doesn't languish somewhere. Talk to the pros over at Amegy. And if you have a small business, like Nancy and I have a couple of small businesses, I got to tell you, when you start talking about this Business Beyond account, it's amazing. We just opened a new Business Beyond account over at Amegy. It'll do everything that the big boy accounts will do without the big boy price. And I love that. So if you're in a small business or you're considering a small business, it might be a family-based business at home. whatever it is. Amegy is here for you. And they got locations all over the place. You can go online, AmegyBank.com. Amegy NA, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
News Talk 550 KTSA and the Gomez Law Firm present the 2026 Back to School Drive. Saturday, August 1st from 11 till 1 or while supplies last at the Gomez Law Firm. 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Free backpacks and school supplies for all school-aged children while supplies last. Saturday, August 1st from 11 till 1. Sponsored in part by the College for Healthcare Professionals. AI United Insurance, Centromed, Tamalitos Restaurants, Somerset Academy, and Bromo Door Supply.
Well, so I got some big news about Texas Rhino Shield. I've been telling you about Rhino Shield for years. Been telling you how Nancy and I put it at the warehouse just a couple of months ago and how much I love Rhino Shield. It's gorgeous. It's a ceramic coating that's 9 times thicker than paint. It protects your home like you would not believe. In fact, they guarantee it for 25 years. I got my warranty in writing, and it's filed away at the warehouse. You know the thing about it is they give you $2,500 off, and they stand behind their product, and they are locally and family owned. That means if you ever have a question, you just call up Anthony or Colton. They come right on out, and they deal with it right then and there. I haven't had any problems at all. None. It's just been amazing dealing with these folks. And, guys, I don't have to touch it. I'm done for 25 years. As long as Nancy and I are in it, we're going to be out of that house one way or to other in 25 years, so it's protected for that long. And here's the deal. Here's the exciting news. The Home and Garden Show at the Alamo Dome next weekend, not this coming weekend. I'm talking about the July 31st through August 2nd. Anthony and Colton are going to be there at booth 713. So you can go to the Home and Garden Show at the Alamo Dome next weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Meet the team from Rhino Shield and learn everything there is to learn about Texas Rhino Shield. That's TexasRhinoShield.com.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cyber.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Rima. Man, what a great movie that was, and what a great song from those guys. I tell you, they were doing the Richie Valens part of that movie, and they were just great with that. Elaine calls him the Texas screwworm because he's going to find a way to worm his way into our lives and then screw us over. Talking about James Talarico. We made a video, and it's up on the KTSA Facebook page. If you want to see the amazing Elaine popping off, just go over there and take a look at it and see what you think. Let me know. So I did a video yesterday, and it was about the whole Save America Act, because there has been so much lying about the Save America Act. Democrats and of course the socialists and the commies, they've been saying, well, first of all, women won't be able to vote. No girls will be able to vote because they're not smart enough to get a driver's license. Black people can't get an ID, don't you know that? The stuff that you hear is just absolutely insane. But you're dealing with an insane group of folks when you're dealing with Democrats and socialists and commies. They truly are. They have no common sense. They nuts. And they never read the bill. First of all, if you are registered, you don't have to re-register. So, ladies, if you're already registered and your name is your maiden name or it's your married name, it doesn't matter. If you're already registered, you're good. It's all good. We often hear, well, you can't get the proof of what your name is. And that's a load of crap. It took my wife no time at all, less than a week, for her to get her information. Take you less than a week to get your information. No person is turned away. If you cannot prove your citizenship, you sign a piece of paper saying, I'm a citizen. Then they check it. They take your vote, and when they check to see if you're a citizen, if you're not, your vote doesn't count. It's real simple. So none, absolutely none of the things that the left and the Rhino Republicans are telling you are true. Zero. None of them. And most importantly, the one that is not true, coming from Rhino Republicans like Tom Tillis and John Cornyn, thank God he won't be our senator anymore. That stuff that they talk about, oh, well, you won't be able to vote. And when they say, nobody who's not a citizen doesn't vote, you know that. It's illegal. It's not a big deal, so why are you concerned about it? Why do you want to pass a bill to keep it from happening if it's not already happening? This is a bill that's looking for something that's not going on. That's a load of crapola, and we all know that too. And that's what I said in my video yesterday. Number one, the Democrats want to continue to cheat. They have to have the votes from those who are not citizens because primarily, when somebody votes in an election who's a non-citizen, they vote Democrat. We know this. These are the numbers. The facts are the facts. You can walk around in a daze and be stupid if you want, but I choose not to. I like to look it up. I like to do my research. It's just a little weird thing that I do. And the fact of the matter is, those who are not citizens do vote in our elections, and they vote Democrat primarily. It doesn't happen, Trey. It never happens. Well, then pray tell me why Mikey Sherrill, the governor of New Jersey, had to come to the microphone and say, yeah, it happens. And you know what? There's nobody farther left. Her and Spanberger down in Virginia are as well with Mom Donnie. They're as far left as you're going to get. Yeah, it does happen. But you know why? Because it's Donald Trump's fault.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity.
He was saying for a long time that people who are not citizens of our country vote in our elections. That's why most of them were brought in here by the previous administration. And she has the gall to tell me and you that, oh, no, he has no credibility when she's been saying the opposite. And she had to admit that her state registered at least 6,600 non-citizens to vote. At least. The number's way higher than that, but that's what they were able to reveal yesterday. Go ahead, sweetie. Tell us all about Donald Trump.
For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence.
He's shown all kinds of evidence. In fact, his speech last Thursday night was approved by every single intel agency. Let me say that again. His speech last Thursday night was approved by every single intel agency before, including the deep state, before he went on television and told it to you. So he's absolutely 100% right on.
So you think the networks are going to cover this
Nah.
from New Jersey?
Nah.
They didn't cover his speech. Why would they cover this?
They ain't talking about this at all. You know why? Because it makes them look bad. And you know why? Because for years, I'm gonna prove something. For years, we
you
heard.
Proving it to me. I'm
no,
on
I
your
know.
side.
I'm not talking to you. For years, we have heard CNN. People who are non-citizens don't vote in our elections. Fake news ABC right here. People who aren't citizens of this country don't vote in our elections, said George Snuffleupagus and Jonathan Carl. I had Matthew Dowd when he worked for ABC. They put him right in that chair right there because they wanted him to team up. This was prior to Sean. They wanted him to team up with me. He sat right there, and he told me what a great conservative he was. But, man, was he, he was so far left. And he used to say that to me all the time when he sat over there. Oh, no, there's no non-citizens vote in our elections. It doesn't happen in the United States of America. No way, it doesn't happen here.
I threw some bait out on Facebook to see if I could get some.
And what did they say?
Nobody's jumping on it because they know it's true. I was like, you called me an idiot saying that non-citizens are registered to vote. And then I put underneath New Jersey. Well, what had happened was, and no liberals are jumping on my page like they normally do.
Well, Jake the Snake had to eat some crow last night.
Mikey Sherrill, the governor of New Jersey, made this announcement today. A surprising announcement. Nearly 400 non-citizens voted in New Jersey elections as a result of what she calls a serious software
At least, Jake.
error. Governor Sherrill posted this quote, as the Trump administration tries to weaponize elections for political gain, I am ensuring we protect our elections. She goes on to say the difference is simple. When we find a problem, we don't hide it, deny it, or invent conspiracies. We investigate it, we fix it, and we tell the public. I have to say, though, for Democrats, I'm not saying that the Save America, the SAVE Act is going to pass.
Yeah.
But this is not good for Democrats' argument that there's no such thing as undocumented immigrants voting.
They're illegal aliens is what they are, and they're also non-citizens who may be here legally, and they don't deserve the right to vote in our elections, and they have been voting in our elections, and it's time you pass the Save America Act to stop them from voting in our elections. The reason Democrats don't want to stop it is they want to continue to cheat. The reason Tom Tillis and John Cornyn and John Thune don't want to pass it is because they want Donald Trump to go down in a ball of flames. They hate him. John Cornyn sat right here and told us for almost a year in his black cowboy hat what a big supporter of Donald Trump he is. And then on May 26th, when he lost to Ken Paxton, he said, "Today is my liberation day. I can be free to tell you the truth." And since then, he's done nothing but try to kick Donald Trump in his you-know-whats of steel.
You know, it's not just the federal and state elections. Look at how the Somalians have taken over the municipal level. And that's the...
Absolutely.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, I know. That's the one I'm really worried about is the municipal level, because they can take over a community not like they can take over a state.
Do you know what's happening here right now?
Yes, ma'am. What's going on?
In the Windcrest area. There's a huge surge of Somalian-owned homes and people there.
Really? In Windcrest, right around the corner from here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Some good Jamaican foods opening up over there. It's getting ethnic.
Are they doing Korean food now? Do they have dogs and stuff like that?
I don't think we have like a Korean side of town, do we?
I don't know. But this speaks to what you were talking about. I know Jack, I played this yesterday. Jack played it as well. This is Malat Kiros, okay? She's just been elected, and she says it's time for us to get more people from out of the country, global south, to come in here and run for office.
I think it's particularly important, not just for our community in Tigray, but communities of the global south, period, right? There's a certain reckoning that we are going to have with the global world order as it exists today, and the way that it fundamentally will have to shift going forward, right? The responsibility that we have as Americans, the recognition that is going to be required of us, of the exploitative and extractive nature that we play on the global scale, on the global stage. is only going to be challenged if we are getting represented by people who understand that on a fundamental level.
Listen,
right?
listen.
And that means getting more immigrants into office. That means getting more people who have heritage in the global South into office, because that's where those decisions are made specifically.
That is exactly their plan, and they're doing it quite well. Look at Mom Donnie trying to incite somebody to take out Bibi Netanyahu. I want to tell you about Alamo Water Softeners. The business came about in 2009, and I was the first customer just because I was in the right place at the right time. I was friends with the owner. And when he started it, he said, I'm going to make a better water softener than any of these others. And I said, I'll buy the very first one from you, and I did. And Nancy and I noticed an immediate improvement in our water at the warehouse. And since that time, it's only been a wonderful experience with our friends at Alamo Water Softeners. Every time I interact with them, it's been wonderful. And I just love them. I think they're just outstanding people at Alamo Water Softeners. In fact, they have the all-in-one home bundle right now. That's a premium water care water softener, reverse osmosis drinking water system, leak detection protection, and a water heater, all designed to protect your home and give you the best water you can possibly have. And right now, qualified homeowners get 36 months, 0% financing, so you can get that all-in-one bundle installed now. Enjoy better water, better quality, better tasting water at your home, and use their money for 36 months to enjoy it. Just log on to the website, mention Trey Ware. When you do, they'll come right out to test your water for free. AlamoWaterSofteners.com. Here's that weather. Heat alert for San Antonio, South Texas. Sunny and 101 for the high. 79 now, KTSA.
Good morning. We are working a few trouble spots. This report sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
NXS. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 8:53 KTSA. I want to lighten the load just a tad. Sean's out this week. He'll be back on Monday. So there's Kristen and there's Jimmy and there's Elaine. And I come from the TV generation. You know what I'm saying? I was the tail end of the baby boomers. And we was raised in front of TV, man. And, in fact, we were the first ones, I think our generation were the first ones to, like, eat in front of the TV.
Yep. You were.
Huh?
TV trays,
Oh,
TV
man.
dinners.
Yeah, we had those. Mama cooked, too, but we had TV dinners, yeah. Every Friday she did a Gordon's thing with the fish sticks.
Mm.
Yeah. And we had somebody came and helped her with the house, and every Wednesday she made enchiladas for us, and so I got home from school and we had enchiladas waiting. But this is how much of a TV generation we were. My dad took the dinner table and he cut he cut the legs off of it and he made a coffee table and we would sit on the floor in front of the TV. That's how we did it.
Yeah.
And it started with the evening news because we had to watch the evening news with Walter Cronkite because you know what? He was the most trusted man in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd stay there all night and watch until 9 o'clock, which bedtime was 9 o'clock. You went to bed at 9 o'clock, not 9:01.
We'd do the same thing. My dad would come home from work, open up a Budweiser, and grab a sack of peanuts.
You grab a what?
Sack of peanuts.
Oh, okay.
And I would lick the salt out of them, and then he would eat the peanuts, and I'd sit in between his legs, and we'd watch the evening news.
Did he have a nutcracker?
Nope.
My dad had a nutcracker because he did pecans.
Oh, yeah.
And walnuts.
My grandmother had that.
A nutcracker, one of those things that you put in the middle and you go.
Two little metal prongs. And
Yep.
Well, the one that he had was fancy. It had you screwed it into the middle, the nut in the center. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
And then you pulled a lever down, and it went busted into a million pieces. And
he had industrial power.
Yeah, he did. And he'd throw them in his ashtray. Sit there and smoke a cigarette while he was eating his pecans. Yeah. That's good, right? So here's a new USC study. Watching too much TV in middle age will shrink your, what was it? Brain.
Your nutcracker?
Yeah, no, shrink your brain. If you watch too much TV and you're in the age of around 53. Isn't that, Jimmy, you're about 53, aren't you? Okay. So don't watch too much TV, Jimmy. It's going to shrink your brain. And it's not the sitting there being sedentary that does it because they have looked at other people about the same age that were sitting doing nothing, doing other things like at work or just sitting doing nothing, and they didn't have the shrinkage. But if you watch TV and you sit for a long period of time, it shrinks your brain.
I don't think so.
That's a good thing I only watch a computer.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Why are you sighing?
Because I don't care. I'm middle-aged,
So if you don't have a brain left, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have kids. I'm not going to forget a child in the back of my car seat.
All you do is watch sports, though, and that exercises your brain.
Yeah.
What's that?
He watches sports. That exercises your brain.
Especially the World Cup with all those goals happening.
Stimulation. There was a mental stimulation in watching sports.
Wait a
minute.
He just brought up the World Cup. I am changing the subject real quick. Did you hear what Jasmine said about the whole Argentina?
Oh, yes. No, what'd she say?
Oh, okay. Good Lord.
She said the reason people were cheering against Argentina and for Spain was that Argentina has such an incredible history of being racist, right? And so, we were all backing Spain because of the racism. I can play it for you a little bit later on. I got to dig it up. It's on the X account.
Let's talk about shrinking brains.
No, wait a minute. So I got to thinking about that. What does Jasmine think about indigenous people? Well, we know that she complains. In fact, she did yesterday about how indigenous people were run off of their land by a lot of folks. What did the Spaniards do?
They were the ones who did it.
Well,
right.
They started the trend. It was a TikTok trend.
She says, I'm backing Spain because Argentina's so racist, but okay, you're backing Spain. They ran a lot of people right down there, that direction, just a few miles. They ran a lot of people, including San Antonio, where we had the Missions came from Spain, from the Spaniards here. So, look, here's the thing. It shows the stupidity of this argument going back and trying to super serve these special interest
trying
groups.
to get herself in the headlines again.
Because you're going to find something wrong in all these groups.
That's the game plan. That's all
exactly
it is.
right. And by the way, I'm glad the Spaniards came here. That's how we got Christopher Columbus, and we got our beautiful missions, and we got the Catholicism brought here. So I'm totally good with it.
Horses.
Yep.
That's right. That too. Thank you.
Cowboys hats.
Exactly. And the rodeo, the charro.
Yes, sir.
More Ware and Rima coming up. KTSA.
Don't miss the sizzling summer sale going on now at Crestview RV. Brand new travel trailers for just $250 a month with a
So the United States has been striking back at Iran. We're looking at the nuclear facility at Pickaxe Mountain that I've been talking about for a couple of years now. Because when we took on those the other mountains, they just moved the stuff over to Pickaxe, and Pickaxe is going to be even tougher to get to. The president was addressing that, but this morning he's headed over to Dover, Delaware, to the Air Force Base there for the dignified transfer of the remains of those who lost their lives this past weekend. This was his only comment, one and only comment, before getting on Air Force One.
We're going to Dover. Some of you are going with us to honor our heroes, and they are indeed great heroes, actually. They said, and all of them said very strongly, we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. So we're going to honor them, and one of the hardest things to do. For me, it's one of the hardest things to do as a president, but has to be done.
So then he turned around and he got on Air Force One and headed that direction. That's where he will be for this morning. It begins at 10 o'clock our time, and so I can only imagine, Mr. President, how difficult that is, because it's his decisions, his words, that ultimately are responsible for everything that goes on with our members of the military. That's the thing about being commander-in-chief, and he understands it. I can guarantee you this, because we've seen this before. He's not going to go and talk about his son, and he's not going to go and look at his watch every few seconds. Hey, let's get this over with. Can you hurry this along? He won't be doing that as Joe Biden did. Don't believe it? Go to my X account. You'll see all this stuff on there. I back up everything I talk about. This morning, in the middle of the night, our time, I was here watching the great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and I will say this. He's going to go down as the greatest. He will go down as the greatest Secretary of State. Now, when you consider some of the ones that he would be in the running with, that's not too difficult to say, particularly here of recent memory when you're talking about Hillary Clinton or John Kerry. That's not hard for, it's not too high a bar, but throughout history, yeah, there have been some really good ones. And he is going to come out on top as being the best that we've had. And the one thing that I really love about it, there's a lot of things I like about Marco Rubio, and I wasn't too sure for the longest time about him, but I have come to be a Marco fan, and I do mean fan. He gets it, he understands it, but he also knows how to make it relatable and understanding to all of us. He's in one segment here, and I'm going to play a couple of segments for you. In one segment, he was talking about Cuba, a place that he knows extremely well because that's where his family escaped from. 1959, when it went all communist. He answered a question about Cuba this morning. I just want you to listen to a little bit of it.
Cuba, is the goal still creating regime change through economic collapse, or is the military option?
I think the goal is to have a Cuba where the people of Cuba can experience prosperity, safety, security, and a better life moving forward. The way Cubans are able to do all over the world when they leave Cuba, and we're prepared to be very realistic about how you do that, and patient about how you get in a serious process that leads to that. And we've engaged them from time to time in that regard, and they know where we stand on that issue, and hopefully that's where it arrives. The fundamental problem Cuba has right now is two things. Number one is their economic system doesn't work because that economic system doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. It's completely backwards. It just doesn't work, and that's why people have to leave that country. And number two, they're no longer getting free oil from Venezuela. That's their biggest problem. They're not getting free oil from Venezuela.
But listen to what he says about the free oil that they were getting from Venezuela and what they were doing with it.
By the way, they weren't using for their power grid. They were taking about 60% of the free oil they were getting from Venezuela and reselling it for cash. So,
which went into the pockets of the Castro brothers, okay, and those that are around them. They live extremely well. The entire country is nothing but poverty everywhere you look, everywhere, except for those very close to the Castros.
The biggest problem Cuba has is that their regime is a disaster, their economic model doesn't work, and the people who run the country don't know what the hell they're doing. And all they're most interested in is holding on to power. They are afraid of economic prosperity because they are afraid that economic prosperity and economic liberties will lose control over people.
Now, that's probably, and that's the thing that stood out most to me. I'm going to replay it for you here in just a second, but that stood out to me because of what's going on here with the communists in the United States who are taking over the Democrat Party, okay? Listen to the warning here. This is what hit me when he said this morning was, okay, so if you want economic prosperity, you own yourself, you own your services, and you sell those services to whomever you choose to sell those services to. For forever, I have sold my services to this radio station. Okay? You are selling your services to whomever. But in a communist situation, you don't get to decide that. And they purposefully make you live in squalor. They don't live in squalor themselves. Just like the Castros in Cuba, they don't live in squalor. They don't live impoverished. And the reason for that is they know that if you were allowed to sell your services to the highest bidder, they could not control you. Their power, their control over you comes through poverty, your poverty. So when you hear them talking about, we're going to fight for your rights to go out and make money, we're going to affordability, we're all about affordability. That's what the midterms are going to be about. Affordability this and affordability that. Guys, if they get into power, it's directly the opposite. All of us have more money in our pockets right now because Donald Trump and the Republicans passed the big, beautiful bill which cut taxes, which caused a huge spike in wages in this country. So, yes, a few things are a little more expensive, but you have so much more money in your pocket that if the Democrats get in, they have already said they are going to raise your taxes. You're going to get taxes on top of taxes on top of taxes if the Democrats get in. Continue, Mr. Secretary.
Is holding on to power. They are afraid of economic prosperity because they are afraid that economic prosperity and economic liberties will lose control over people.
And that's what the socialist Democrats will do in America.
And that's always been the struggle they faced in recent times. But again, look, just today, we began shipping over $100 million of humanitarian assistance to Cuba. Which will be distributed by non-governmental entities on the ground. So, we're willing to engage with them. We've engaged with them in the past. We'll keep talking to them about the kind of changes they can make. But this is 90 miles from our shores. This is a government that has spent, a regime that has spent the better part of 30, 40, 50 years destabilizing the region and the movements that they've supported.
That's right.
And they've lost, 10 to 15% of their population since 2021. Because of how mismanaged the country is. We want it to have a better future, and we're prepared to do things that help them get there. But they have to decide they want to do that. The people that are in charge there right now just don't want to do it.
Man, he's so good. He's so good. And I appreciate everything that he just had to say. One more thing he could have added, we got now confirmation that Cuba and the terrible authorities there are behind a lot of this DSA communist stuff you see happening in the Democrat Party right now. They have been bringing those guys here and set them up to be a part of our American system. One of those that came from Uganda, of course, is Mamdani, the mayor of New York City. I believe he has a grand plan in his head. He's a Jew hater, hates Jews. Listen, if you go back and you hear his own words come out of his mouth, it's abundantly clear he's a Jew hater. Okay. And what he's doing right now about Bibi Netanyahu is unconscionable. I think it's criminal. But I'm going to play you something here in our next segment, and I want to take some of your calls on this and whatever else you want to talk about at 210-599-5555. But before I break, I want you to hear GOP Republican Representative Maria Salazar. You see, being a dummy is just not for Democrats. You can be a dummy as a Republican as well. She says, without illegal aliens, we won't have a military.
We're talking about those millions and millions of illegals, undocumented people who belong to my community. Probably 80% of the undocumented belong to the Hispanics, the largest and fastest growing minority in the country. So why don't we give them dignity? Let them stay, those who do not have a criminal record. Let them continue contributing to the #1 economy in the world so we can continue being the #1 military in the world. If we don't have the economy, we don't have the guns, and we cannot defend ourselves.
That takes the cake, don't it? out of all the excuses you have heard about allowing illegal aliens into the – well, why, you know what? If we want to be the strongest nation on earth and have the strongest military, let's just open the doors to everybody who shall come. And you don't have to follow any law. You can be an illegal alien and live here because we need you here. Otherwise, we won't be a powerful country. We can't buy guns.
Is she a senator?
She's a congressperson.
Congressperson? Why don't you introduce some legislation that then illegal aliens have to serve for 4 years in the Army?
Or that's a good one. Or illegal aliens are welcome here because we have to have you for our to pay for our guns. Illegal aliens are here to pay for our guns,
and they're going to be the front line. The first one's off the boat.
Well, sure, but we wouldn't even have F-35s. We wouldn't have F-22s. We wouldn't have the B-2 stealth if it wasn't for illegal aliens, according to Congresswoman Maria Salazar. Republican Congresswoman, proving once again what I've always said: you can be a Republican and be a dumbass.
It's Lockheed and Martin, not Lockheed and Martin. It's the Boeing.
That's right. Back in just a minute. Ware and Rima, KTSA. Sean's out today. He'll be back next Monday. Heat alert for San Antonio, South Texas. 101 for the high today. Right now, 83 KTSA. to get to Mamdani in just a couple of minutes, but before I do, I was talking earlier about Anthony Fauci and the scientists who wrote the proximal origin of COVID paper in 2020, which Fauci took to the media, and the media colluded with him. Said, no, it was a bat that bit somebody, and that's how we ended up with COVID. And a lot of us were saying, now that came from the Wuhan lab, and oh no, a bat bit somebody. And Kristen Anderson and Robert Gary and Eddie Holmes and Andrew Rambo are all scientists who signed on to this paper. And they said, no, it came from the zoo. It was like the bat, and the bat's flying around at the wet market, and the bat bit somebody, and now we all going to die from COVID. Go get a shot and put a diaper on your face. Behind the scenes, they were telling each other, quietly, secretively, confidentially, hey, it came from the lab. Grady, you're on. Good morning, Grady.
Hey, Mr. Trey. I don't want to depress everybody, but the COVID shot affected my son in my life for the last 6-7 years. Prior to my son getting COVID, he was active. He's in a wheelchair. He's wheelchair bound, severely disabled. He was rolling around, playing.
Yeah.
We went into the hospital for a minor, and the hospital determined that he had the COVID. Without my permission, they gave him the COVID shot. And 2 days later, he was having respiratory effects. They put him on a ventilator for 60 days. And when we got out of the hospital, we took him home. He was on oxygen for the next 8 months, laid up in the bed, wouldn't move. We had to have nurses come in today, help him. He got bed sores. And to this day, he won't walk. He won't roll in his own chair. I have to lift him and place him where I need him. So I never got the COVID shot. And I believe that was the effect of it. I'm sorry, I'm fixing to cry. Yeah. But I lost my son because of that shot. Not lost, it's dead, but he's not as active anymore, you know? Yeah. And I believe that's what did it, you know?
I hear you, Grady, and God bless you and your son and your entire family. I'm so sorry. This is why this is so critical. This is why Fauci needs to face the music. This is why all of them that were involved in that need to face the music, because I believe they lied to each and every one of us. I believe they knew what they were doing, and I believe it was created for the 2020 election and other reasons too, but they used it in the 2020 election. Eric Holder went around and had election laws changed so people could vote by mail. Remember, they told you, don't go vote. You knew they were lying when they told you you could go to a bar or a strip club. That's fine, but you can't go to church. Remember, they shut a lot of churches down. They sued churches, and you can't go vote. You'll get COVID if you go vote. Now, we look at that now, and we go, that was just insanity. Seriously, that was insanity. You can go to a strip club. You can go to a bar. That's fine. You're not going to get COVID at a strip club or a bar. Some girls coming over and hanging all over you, trying to get some money out of you. You're not going to get COVID. But by God, if you go to a church and you worship God, they shut churches down in this country. Grace Community Church, John MacArthur, they paid millions of dollars because he said, I'm not shutting down. We're going to keep going. And it ended up costing him millions of dollars at that church. It was the biggest fraud we were played. And Fauci played us, and not just Fauci, but the rest of them too. And they knew what they were doing. They lied to us, and we know they lied to us because we have their private communications now. And what they were saying in public was 180 from what they were saying to each other behind the scenes.
So is anything going to happen to him?
Well, I'll bring it up again like I did last hour. He's got that pardon, a 10-year blanket pardon for any. This is how the Biden people put it. A 10-year blanket pardon for anything he may or may not have done. Okay, so first of all, that's not valid in my view because a pardon is for a specific crime that you have been charged and or found guilty and or serving time for. That's what a pardon is, okay? You were found guilty of this crime, so I'm going to pardon you for that crime. It's not, well, you may or may not have, so if you did, I'm going to give you a pardon. That's not how pardons work. We've never, ever, not one time in the history of this country have we ever accepted that as the standard for pardons, except when it came to Joe Biden's administration, number one. Number two, it was signed by the auto pen. The President of the United States, of course he was the president in name only, he was not the actual president, did not sign those pardons. There was only one pardon that he signed. And that was the pardon for his son, Hunter Biden. So in my view, humble opinion, just reading all the stuff about pardons, that's the only one that is valid. Hey, Will, go right ahead. What are your thoughts?
My thought is that the pardon's only for federal prosecution. I don't understand why a state can prosecute him under state law for mass murder.
Good idea, Will. Well, let's be the first. That's a good idea. Let's do it. I appreciate your call this morning. All right, I'm going to get to the Mom Dommy thing at 9:35. That'll set me up great from Across with Jack, which is coming up at 9:50 here on KTSA. Listen, you've been working hard for your money. Now it's time that your money work hard for you. But let me tell you, as you get close to retirement, or maybe you're already there, it's not about just having enough money. It's about knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from. And that's where Wealth Watch Advisors comes in. Now, I want you to imagine just waking up every month with the confidence, knowing that your retirement income has been thoughtfully mapped out, going to help support your lifestyle, manage your taxes, and adapt through the changing market conditions. That's what we call retirement income mapping at Wealth Watch Advisors. What they do over there is they help turn your retirement savings into a personalized income strategy built around your goals. What do you want to do in your retirement years? Then they coordinate your retirement income, Social Security, tax planning, investment strategies, and estate planning so that every piece of your financial life all works together to get you through your retirement years happy and healthy and all that. Because retirement shouldn't feel like guesswork, it ought to feel like confidence. Retirement income mapping from Wealth Watch Advisors, confidence for every chapter ahead. Start with a brief conversation today. But let me tell you something. When you call them, there's simply no pressure, just clarity. That's all, no pressure. Wealth Watch Advisors, 210-249-5360. Schedule your appointment or just go to the website, wealthwatchadvisors.com. Wealth Watch Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
News Talk 550.
Trey, Ware here, KTSA. Sean is on vacation. He'll be back next Monday. This guy is really obsessed with Benjamin Netanyahu. First of all, Mom Donnie's a Jew hater. And he has been for a long time. And that ought to be concerning to the Jews of New York because he hates you. And I said that before he was elected. I said it over and over again before he was elected. He hates you. And I also said something else. This was way before he was elected. I said, just think, in less than 25 years they have, meaning radical Islam, has conquered New York. Because one of their guys is now the mayor of New York. Less than 25 years. A Jew-hating radical Islamist. And he happens to be a commie, too. He's obsessed with Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, I did a video yesterday. It's still up on the KTSA Facebook page where I said the comments, the rhetoric from the left in this country incites violence. That's not even questionable. It incites violence. You can just look at Charlie Kirk. And there's a direct link between what was written on those shell casings that killed Charlie Kirk to the left-wing rhetoric that is put out there by their thought leaders and by their politicians. The same is true of the Catholic school where the kids were killed by the tranny last year. The same is true of the ICE facility in Dallas where the guy ended up killing illegal aliens and not ICE guys. Written on the casings were the exact words and phrases that come out of the mouths of Democrat politicians, left-wing politicians, and thought leaders on the left. When the guy tried to light the facility in New York City on fire a couple of days ago, he had all kinds of anti-ICE propaganda. Again, the words from their thought leaders. So there's no need for me to try to prove the case that their rhetoric inspires and incites violence. So the Jew-hating mayor of New York City, he knows, and he knew it when he started it, when he made it a campaign promise, I'm going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. The boy knew right then he can't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, and he knew it as he's continuing to talk about it, and not 5 minutes ago, he was holding a press conference. Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal. He's a war criminal. Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal. He's a war criminal. He's a war criminal. He needs to be in the Hague. Somebody. I can't do anything about it, but somebody sure needs to do something about Benjamin Netanyahu. You better do something about him. Here he comes. He's coming to New York. He's going to be here in September. You better do something. What the hell do you think the boy's trying to do? Listen to yesterday's video that he put out, and listen particularly, why would you put this music behind it? Why would you try to evolve and evoke the emotions of whack job leftist radicals who are going to be watching you?
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists.
Can you hear the music underneath there?
And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces.
Do you hear how he's focusing on the children? He's not saying anything about Hamas flying those little things into Israel and grabbing young people from the music fest, taking them underground, and raping them even after they were dead. He didn't say anything about that. Now, does he?
More than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on. All as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing.
Okay, and this goes on and on and on. You can, if you want to see the rest of it, it's only about a minute longer. Just go to my X account at Trey Ware Show. It's all there. You can see it. But here's my point. That boy knows what he's doing. He's not ignorantly going on national television every day and he's focused on this. He's not focused on the trash on his streets. He's not focused on the Intrepid Museum there in New York that has homeless people sleeping all over the joint, puking on themselves and crapping on themselves. He ain't focused on that. You know what he's focused on? The Jew hater is focused on Benjamin Netanyahu coming to New York in September. He can't. He's a war criminal. He's not welcome in New York. That's what he said.
The International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City.
What is that saying to some nut job out there? He's not welcome in New York City. Yes, sir. I salute. Here I go. I'm going to make sure that Benjamin Netanyahu is not in New York City.
Or is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people.
Do you hear that? Every tool we have. These words, folks, these words are specifically chosen to bring about a particular emotion and reaction and action.
We can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
So a couple of days ago, it's an anti-ICE guy with the very same words written on signs that come from their thought leaders on the left, tries to burn down the facility in New York. They shot up a facility, an ICE facility out in Phoenix, Arizona, just this past weekend. Same thing, shell casings written all over it, their words. They have messages for you. He knows what he's doing. He's a sly, evil fox. He's a radical Islamist who has conquered New York. He wants to conquer the United States, and he's getting people elected to do just that. And in particular, since he hates Jews so much. Oh, if you don't believe me, you need to read his writings and listen to his words before he became mayor. And then read what his wife has publicly posted that she's been forced to take down about Jews. The picture will become abundantly clear. If you're a Jew in New York City, there's a target on you. And even now, the Jews of New York City have begun hiding their Star of David necklaces behind their clothing because they're scared. That's exactly how it began in Hitler's Germany. That's exactly how it began. This guy is doing the exact same thing they did in Hitler's Germany in the 1930s. Exactly. To a T. 100% to a T. Benjamin Netanyahu is in his sights every day, 20 minutes ago, yesterday, the day before. Let me tell you about my friends over at Knightley Insurance Group. That's Nick Knightley and his team over there, ready to work with you to come up with your best program when it comes to Medicare choices. Because Medicare is too important to try to figure out on your own, especially when you get into the website and it's so confusing in that website. You have no idea what you're looking at. And then if you mess it up and you punch the wrong button at the wrong time, they toss you out of the website and you can't get back in the website. It can be a mess. How do I know? Because I went through it with my dad trying to figure out his choices. And you got to get it right the first time because you can't come back and make changes for another year or so. So look, these guys are experts in Medicare choices, and they don't charge you for this. And this is not some phone answering service that's over in India. These folks are right here, and they are the Medicare specialists. Again, they don't charge you for this service. So why not take advantage of it? If you have questions, any questions at all about Medicare, maybe you're not at enrollment time, maybe that's not what you're going through, but maybe you've had a change in your medications or your doctor or something like that, and you got some questions about how that works into your particular plan, just ring them up or go to their website, KnightleyInsuranceGroup.com. They're so kind, so helpful, so friendly. There's no pressure whatsoever to do anything or buy anything. In fact, like I said, it's a free service to you. Just real clear advice when it comes to Medicare choices. So I want you to know about them. I know about them. They're on my radar screen when I start making those choices in a few years. This is who I'm going to reach out to. It's Knightley with a K, KnightleyInsuranceGroup.com. We got a heat alert for San Antonio, South Texas. It's going to be sunny 101 today. Right now it's sunny 85, KTSA.
Good morning. Got some
Uh-huh. Why is that, son? Uh-huh. Why? Where's that sweet, sweet Connie? That girl knew what was going on. Why? Oh, yeah. Love them boys. 9:51 KTSA. It's Ware and Rima. Sean's off until Monday. Here's the great professor, Jack Riccardi, joining me for what we call our cross. We have those really incredible terms that we should.
That sounds like something else.
Like we have to bear
it's his cross he has to bear.
You have to bear putting up with me, and I'm sorry about that. You've had to do that for 30 years
I feel
now.
Like you're humming along. By this point, you've been awake since midnight, and you're like the finely tuned machine. I feel like I come in here and I step on your toes. And
oh, hell.
Get mud on the carpet.
Oh.
But you're nice to have.
This is the highlight of my day, and I'm not even making that up. Can we dump on Mikey Sherrill for a few minutes, please? Can we do that?
I can never remember if it's Mikey or Mickey.
I heard 4 people this morning.
What kind of a woman's name is Mikey?
I know, but that's what I heard 4 people say this morning. So
I guess it's Mikey.
I'm going to go with that. But here she comes out and she says, "Hey, listen, that whole thing that you heard about no non-citizens voting, well, that wasn't true. But we knew that, Jack. We knew it."
We're totally in control here. First, it never happened. Then it was exceedingly rare. Now it's not widespread. I think the next step, by the weekend, they'll be telling us that it's really good for democracy. And it's a plus. It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. I mean, you just take a look at what the numbers she was tossing around, and we're talking about 6,600 of them. But again, there's one person to blame.
Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity.
Wait a minute. You're the one admitting that your state allowed people who were not citizens of this country to vote, and Donald Trump doesn't have the integrity?
Right. Well, it's like everything. I mean, they don't believe that the Save America Act would disenfranchise women or minorities. They don't believe that Trump is Hitler. They don't believe that this is 1938. I mean, they're going to Whole Foods, and they don't believe any of this crap that's coming out of them. They just don't. And we have to sit here and debate it and discuss it, but even they don't believe anything they're saying. She doesn't believe that this is a software error or a security error or Trump's fault or not important. She knows that elections in this country get decided by far fewer than 6,000 votes, and she probably also knows there's more than the 6,600 or whatever it is that's been reported.
In 660 U.S. elections from 18 to 25, that's 2018 to 2025, swayed by 10 votes or less. 13 votes in New Jersey. 13 votes, Jack.
Yeah.
In her state.
And the mistakes always go one way.
Right.
They always accrued to the Democrats. They always happen in blue states. It's like, come on, guys. If I'm flipping a penny, I don't get 100 heads, And one of the things I love about you is you call out both sides, and I try to do the same thing too. I've always said they play for the same team, but when they come out of the huddle or whatever, one wears a red jersey, one wears a blue jersey, but they're playing for the same team. We're seeing that right now with the Save America Act, as many of these what we call rhinos are trying to crap can it just so they can hurt Donald Trump. But it goes beyond just the Save America Act. Here is GOP Representative Maria Salazar saying, without illegal aliens, we wouldn't have a great military.
We're talking about those millions and millions of illegals, undocumented people who belong to my community. Probably 80% of the undocumented belong to the Hispanics, the largest and fastest growing minority in the country. So why don't we give them dignity? Let them stay, those who do not have a criminal record. Let them continue contributing to the #1 economy in the world so we can continue being the #1 military in the world.
So without the illegal aliens here, we won't be the #1 military in the world. And the next step, Jack, is what we're talking about with Mikey Sherrill, and that is, look, they're so important to us and to our very survival as a country because we won't have a great military without the illegals. You might as well let them vote, right?
Mm-hmm. Remember how we won World War II with all those? I think we all know that story.
All the illegals.
But they don't believe she doesn't believe what she's saying.
Right.
And so should people of good intention and sincerity even bother with what she's saying? Like, why are we even engaging? Because they don't believe it. They don't believe it. Like, for example, you could say to her, every time you defend or justify the presence of somebody in the country illegally, you are disenfranchising
Amen.
One of your constituents
Amen.
who perhaps even voted for you.
Amen.
So it's two people. You're not defending one person. You're really talking about two people. Do you care about that at all? And they have no answer for that. I've never heard them answer that.
They were raised differently than we were, because you and I were raised to believe that a vote is sacred and that people spilled their blood, man. I take it very seriously. I forget
where I read it, but somewhere, and I wish I could remember, but somebody had written this piece about how to lefties, words don't have meaning.
Yeah.
Like if you hear a word, you don't know what it means, you look it up so you understand it and you use it correctly. But words are just like weapons. They just throw them around. I was listening to that Brandon Gill go around and around with the Smithsonian lady. We're going to play some of that. And, I mean, she doesn't believe any of that. She doesn't believe anything.
That was amazing. I played a lot of that this morning, too, and I can't wait to hear
He can do that all day, can't he?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, he's outstanding.
They should just give him a room.
Yes.
You don't need a committee.
Yes.
Because it's just him. Just give him a room. Have him call witnesses all day. I would stream that all day.
And let me tell you, the ratings would be off the charts if he did that, because I can't stop watching him once he does it. And he keeps his cool. How does he do that? And he's asking these questions, and they're in a box every time. To the point yesterday, and I'm sure you're going to play this, she didn't even have an answer. She just sat there silently writing on a piece of paper. She couldn't say anything. Oh, my God. All right, I'll let you have it. I'm going to get out of here.